Rita Doroffer,
Present.
Johnny Rard,
Present.
Eddie Carrillo,
Here.
Mona Kirk,
Yes.
Michael Lackey,
Here.
Neil Rowe. Thank you.
Awesome. Okay, and I know
One-
this is a little different. We're not used to meeting at 10 a.m. in the morning. This is our first meeting. Typically, it's in the evening, and so we're all adjusting to this time change of different meeting time. Anyway, okay, moving on. I'd like to approve the minutes from the January 21st, 2025 meeting, and has everyone had a chance to review them?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Okay, I have, any corrections or amendments, anything? I have one, under where it says new business on the notes, the pronoun doesn't agree with the gender, so, addressing the commission, starting that he would like to move, that should read she. That's my only correction. Making that correction, I will approve the minutes. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Ayes have it. The minutes are approved. Okay, moving on. So we have election of officers. Our chair is no longer with us. So we need to elect new officers. And I will address that when we go down to other business commissioners. I would like to address that. So I will take a nomination for chair.
Madam Vice Chair, I nominate Mona Kirk as chairman of the ETZ Board.
I second it.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Ayes have it. Now we need a vice chair. Any nominations?
Madam Chairman, I would like to nominate John, my neighbor to me, my right, as vice chair.
Second?
Second.
Mr. Rose, second that. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. There we have it. So we have a chair and a vice chair. Thank you, Mr. Rard, for agreeing to serve.
Glad to help.
Moving on to old business.
Chairman, Commissioners, good morning. We are here to address ETZ case 2016-14 compliance report. This is a special use permit that was allowed for a vehicle repair shop in the rural suburban area down on 2200 East Bland. As you know, we have given Mr. Nieto conditions of approval, which he has satisfied. He is still working on the manufactured home, however, in hopes of either selling it or providing it to his daughter or family member, I should say, not one in specific manner. But staff agrees that the small and affordable vehicle repair shop is vital to the community. However, the junk vehicles that are behind the shop and spread throughout the property may become a nuisance. Mr. Nieto does not possess a state recycling or dismantling license as required for a junkyard. And as you know, staff is having more and more problems with private and illegal and unlicensed junkyards in residential districts. Commission, I feel, must address the issue or risk setting a precedent for all private junkyards in the ETZ area. Staff recommends that the commission renew Mr. Nieto's SUP for 1 year. For that, he must remove the junk vehicles from the property and discontinue the illegal junkyard operation within that 1 year. Any failure to follow these requirements would result in the termination of his SUP by the commission. That is staff's recommendation.
Thank you, Mr. Armijo.
Mr. Nieto is here.
Any questions from staff?
Madam Chair, I have just been given all this new information and have not had any time to read it. In order to be fair for the applicant for these motions, I need some time to read all this.
This is Mr. Nieto's compliance report that we've put off for months.
Yeah, we've met on this.
Yeah. Do you recall that one, Commissioner?
I recall that we've had this discussion numerous times, but isn't there some more information
No.
that I was just given?
No, those are on the next two cases, Commissioner.
Those are on the next two, okay.
Yes.
But I do ask that we do delay the next two so I can read this information. Otherwise, I don't think it is fair to anyone if we do not know all of the facts. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Thank you. Mr. Nieto, are you in the audience? Please address yourself and
Joseph Chris
give
Nieto.
us your address.
At 2200 and 2202 East Bland. I have been working on getting the vehicles moved around, getting them all situated, getting them all fenced in to where it's not an eyesore anymore. Been keeping up with the grass, of course, the weeds and everything else that we've gotten here the last few months. Been trying to comply as much as possible as far as the mobile home. It has sold, so it should be gone within the next few months. So I'm trying to, whatever you guys are asking, I'm trying to comply with everything you're saying.
So I understand that, Mr. Nieto, but you've had ample time to take care of the delinquent vehicles and structures on your property. What seems, how
Ma'am,
come?
I do work a full-time job with the United States Postal Service. We've been shorthanded, so I've been working 6-7 days a week. So I've been trying to work in between that and do that. I did get rid of quite a few of almost all my vehicles. And the few that I'm keeping are actually personal vehicles, and I'm kind of shuffling them over to the side. I'm gonna fence them in where they can't even be seen. Put a privacy fence up.
And you've explained all this to staff?
Staff is in
Yes.
favor of such an item, yes.
Okay.
As long as they're fenced in and not able to be seen by the public.
Okay. So that's why the one-year extension.
Yes. that would-
Mr. Jaramillo, could you repeat that, please?
Yes, the screen fencing, or basically the box fencing for his vehicles would work for staff. And it is a requirement for what we would consider private vehicles and storing them and maintaining them and utilizing them in the future. They may need repair, they may need
Restoration.
restoration. So that's the best place to put them.
And your recommendation?
1 year,
Your
to
extension.
approve his SUP for 1 year, at which time we will review it again.
Madam Chair?
Yes,
Mr.
ma'am.
Jaramillo, did you go out and take a look at the property, especially on the east side of the property? Did you
No,
visit?
we were able to get to the gate similar to other residents at this time without Mr. Nieto's permission to go onto the property. No, I did not wander onto that side.
Is that eastern side part of his property that is private property? Or is that dirt road that goes on the east side of the property and then goes on the south of the property? Is that still his property?
The property line basically is the dirt road and everything west of it
Everything west of the
is
dirt
the
road?
property, yeah. Yes.
And you said that there was a gate put up,
Yes, there was a gate put up about 6 months ago.
so you could not get out there and take a look at it?
No, I haven't had a chance to go with Mr. Nieto to get out there.
If you don't mind, he has called me before.
Yes.
And come out.
It's not a problem.
I don't mind having him out there.
I just
Not
don't
I'm
like,
trying to block him off. I'm not,
yeah, I don't
not
like
trying
to
to cause
scare his
problems.
wife.
You don't like to scare his
No,
wife?
I did that once and I apologized and I don't want to do that again. So
I mean,
I try
I'm
to
ju-
make sure that he knows that I'm coming.
yes.
Okay, so we can't get to that dirt road to see if he really has moved all of this?
Staff will look at it, the enforcement, throughout the whole year, if approved. Yes.
And the gate will be open?
We will work with Mr. Nieto with the gate situation. Yes.
Thank you.
Madam Chairman, if I may, Mr. Nieto, this process has been going on for a while.
Yes, sir.
And I understand that the county does want to work with you, but we've had a timeline of, hearing this, Madam Chair, for about a year, close to it.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's been a while. So Louis, can we review this situation, if approved, within a 90-day interval?
If you choose, yes. Your timeline is set.
We set
Staff
that
recommended a year, but you can set any timeline you wish.
And so I was
For
going
him to visit,
Yeah,
for Mr.
so
Huttinger
I
to
was
visit.
going to make a recommendation that we modify that timeline instead of a year, make it 6 months. And that should be ample time.
Yes, ma'am.
I like the 90-day recommendation. We have given you plenty of time. We had a meeting back in December, if I remember correctly, or November, and you told us that it would be taken care of if we would agree to your terms. We did. So I say 90 days, and I agree with
When we make that
Councilor
recommendation.
Carrillo.
Well,
Yes, Mr.
I have been complying with everything that you've asked.
Well, you've complied with most, but not all.
We understand, Mr. Nieto, that you're working on it. It's just sometimes our patience run a little thin.
Yes.
And we're doing this for the community, not for us, but for the community.
The community needs for you to get this off its plate, and you need to get it off your plate,
Yes, sir.
okay? And we've been pretty fair. I
Yes,
think
sir.
you'd agree.
Oh, Morton?
Okay, let's get it done. Get her done.
Yes, sir.
Commissioners, any other?
Madam Chair, I make a motion that we
Let's
table
hear-
this for 90 days. That's September. We'll see it back again in September.
That's the way to-
That would be acceptable.
Yes,
Mr.
ma'am.
Nieto?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. We have
Mr.
a
Nieto,
recommend- or we
it
have-
needs to get done.
We have
Yes,
a
sir.
motion. May I have a second?
Second,
Have a second. Ms. Sedina, roll call.
Rita Doroffer,
Yes.
Johnny Rard,
Yes.
Eddie Carrillo,
yes.
Mona Kirk,
Yes.
Michael Lackey,
Yes.
Neil Rowe.
Yes, and if I can make a quick statement, I think what's happening here is they're trying to get you to create more urgency than you've done in the past. No one's saying you haven't done anything.
No, yes, sir.
Right, but I think 90 days, you're going to have to get it, you really are going to have to get it done.
Well, for the last month, I haven't been able to get back in there
Well,
because of all the rain and all the stuff.
Did you get a little rain
Yes,
there,
sir.
did
No, I agree. You've given me more than just that month.
Okay, so
Yes, sir,
anyway,
I
I'm a
will.
yes.
Thank you, Mr. Nieto. We'll
Thank
see
you.
you back here in 90 days.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Mr. Amio, now we move on to case ETZ 2025-02.
Chairman, Commissioners, before us now is ETZ Case 2025-2. It is a special use permit for a utility-scale solar facility in the rural suburban district. The landowner currently is LT Lewis LTD Company. The agent is Coyote Willow Energy Park LLC. Its approximate location is 2400 in the 2900 block of East Pine Lodge Road. The area is approximately over 800 square miles, or sorry, acres. The Coyote Willow Energy Park LLC is proposing a 250 megawatt utility scale solar facility that would extend across the ETZ and county district area. This project is situated between Pine Lodge Road, the old Clovis Highway, and the railroad. The overall site area, which includes the ETZ and the county, is 1,835 acres, and it is all vacant land, of which 783 acres is in the ETZ area. The properties to the west and south of the projected area consist of residential dwellings zoned rural suburban. To the east is the Next Era solar facility that was approved in 2015 and was completed in construction on 2024. Access to the area is from East Pine Lodge per their plans, but is accessible from Calumet, Isser, and Shepherd Road as well. All county-maintained roads that are within and bordering the proposed project area. Staff recently established new regulations for solar facilities in the ETZ district area with the passing of Article 25. Coyote Willow Energy Park LLC was patient with staff in allowing us to complete our regulations before submitting their project. Staff has reviewed their proposed project and has a few concerns about the development. One, the size of the facility within the ETZ area. As you know, our maximum area is 750 acres. Two is the percentage of area covered by solar panels, which is 70% of that 750. Number three, the residential communities surrounding. Number four is the public road repair and maintenance during and after construction. And number five is the drainage along the railroad. When we looked at this project, something new that we found yesterday, and that the drainage that runs kind of northeast, southwest, and then to the railroad, we noticed that the box culvert on one side, on the east side, seems to be filled in. So we will notify the railroad company that they have a box culvert for drainage that has been plugged. I don't know when this happened, but based on the aerial photos of 23, it seems that it's been, we haven't gotten out there to look at it, as we want to get with the railroad company before we trespass onto their property. So, Coyote Willow is here along with a number of residents to speak with you guys. Any questions?
Yes, questions? Staff? No?
I need to read some of these letters.
Okay.
I don't have time to.
I know it's
Can
very
we take-
difficult when we get them the day of the meeting. I agree with you, Commissioner. Thank you, Mr. Hermio. Commissioners, also, with the finding of facts, we have to, if we do or don't pass this, remember, we have to either complies or does not comply, and that needs to be stated in your motion. So, having said that, let's address is LT Lewis LTD Company here? Somebody representing? Please step forward, state your name and address.
Good morning, Josh Scogan with Accelergen Energy, which is the company developing Coyote Willow Energy Park.
Can you tell us a little bit about LT Lewis Limited Company? Who is it? Where's it out of? What business is it in?
And your idea.
Yes. LT Lewis is the current property owner of the 1,835 acre property that the Coyote Willow Energy Park is proposed on. Coyote Willow Energy Park LLC has entered into a land agreement to buy the property. Currently, the property is under an option, and so Coyote Willow Energy Park LLC has the option to buy the property, subject to completing due diligence and development of the project.
And your role, please?
I am the Senior Vice President of Accelergen Energy and overseeing the team developing Coyote Willow Energy Park LLC.
Who is this going to benefit? In other words, what is the purpose of this solar farm? And I'm confused as to the purpose of it. Who needs it and who's going to benefit from it?
Yep. So for the first time in most of everyone's lifetime in this room, really since World War II, energy demand is skyrocketing in this country. It is projected to double in many cases for local utilities, and so far as they're keeping old coal plants on longer, et cetera. A lot of that is due to the global AI race, which we've all heard of, the increase in reshoring of our supply chain here in the US, all of the electricity use in the mining and industrial manufacturing, the Permian Basin, and just general population increases and energy demand increases. So this project is a reliable, cost-effective solution to that rising energy demand at an affordable price that avoids volatile fuel prices moving forward. Projects like Coyote Willow Energy Park, LLC, are able to sell the power for 20 plus years at a level rate. So we can set that price prior to construction, contract the sale of that energy to a local or regional utility, and sell them that power at that price, guaranteed for 20 plus years.
Is Xcel Energy not able, is their grid not able to provide enough electricity for us currently and for future growth?
Xcel Energy is projecting over, I can't remember how many gigawatts of energy increases, so their forecasted energy demand over the next 5 years is more than they can supply. We are facing an energy shortage nationwide across this country, and capacity, energy capacity is the most needed thing, meaning reliable power when it's needed most. So this project is paired with energy storage so that it's not just generating power when the sun's up and sun's down, but it can generate power when it's needed most at a low, affordable rate. So this project has a lot of community benefits, which are described in the information, and we can go through those today. But one of the most important ones for everyone is that it will help maintain and support lower energy prices moving forward into the future.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
it sounded like you're talking about a lot of residential, but how about AI and all the power that they take nationwide? I'm not talking about right here in Chaves County alone. Can you address that, the AI problem, or not problem, but the need for a lot
need
of
of it.
power?
Yeah, so there are some data centers, I understand, being planned within the state, maybe even locally. And those are tremendously energy intensive. One Google search using AI on our phones uses 10 to 20 times more power than a typical Google search. And that's just a Google search. When people are putting together these things to solve a lot of problems and supercomputing, it's very hard to quantify exactly how much energy that's taking, but we all have that power in our pocket and we're all demanding it. So that rise in energy is real, and utilities are having a very hard time keeping up with that demand, and they're facing not only energy shortages, but reliability issues. And so this project, while it's paired with that energy storage, is designed to meet that need, to provide power when it's needed most. And the really unique ability of energy storage in this case is that it can not only take power from the solar project, but it can also take power from the grid. So it can receive power either from the solar or from the grid. And that's really beneficial for local ratepayers and families and businesses, because power from the grid at times is very low cost because it's not needed, like at night. So that the energy storage system can charge at night using very low cost power that's otherwise just lost on the grid, and release it the next day at peak demand hours at that low price. So it helps avoid these energy cost increases that just spiral out of control that we've seen in Texas.
Very interesting, yeah.
Yeah, it is. And so what I'm hearing you say, though, it's that is not being sold back to private. It's being sold to the industries, to like Xcel Energy, to distribute, correct?
That's correct. So the project, and I'll step back and kind of explain that, provide more context for my answer here. The project is going to be interconnecting into an existing high voltage line that runs north-south just to the east of the property.
Okay.
There is a large substation there owned by Xcel Energy, and they have high voltage power lines running in and out of there. We are connecting to Xcel's lines. So an electron unfortunately can't be earmarked and told where to go. An electron takes the path of least resistance on the grid. It just goes where it's allowed. And most often that's just locally, because that's where the power is demanded. So we haven't sold or contracted the sale of the energy yet. Xcel Energy is a potential buyer. It's not guaranteed that it'll go to them. It could go to local utilities, munis, co-ops. It could be sold directly to these big data center users. But all of that energy, if it goes to Xcel, because it's on Xcel's system, helps them serve their demand, and therefore helps them decrease the cost of their power for Xcel Energy ratepayers.
So you're tying into Xcel's grid, but not selling back to them. Have they given you approval?
So Xcel Energy is interested, I would say. That's as much as I could say.
Okay.
We have not contracted the sale of power to Xcel Energy.
Have you had conversations with them?
We have had conversations with
To
them
tie into their grid, and they're given approval?
to do both, to tie into the grid and potentially sell power, because they operate those two units separately within their organization. We are going through the process right now to interconnect to their system. That's a lengthy process. It can take a couple years, and we're still in the beginning stages of that. So this project is slated for construction maybe as early as late 2027. I'd say that's the earliest, and it would be in operation in 2028. That process is going, and then the other process to sell power, we're talking to a number of different parties on that. Xcel Energy is one of them. They have a request for proposals to provide power to them coming up later this year, early next year. We'll participate in that and propose the sale of the power from this project to them.
Chairman, Commissioners, the data centers that he is referring to are outside of the ETZ, so I can speak freely of them, being that they won't come before you. They are proposed along US 70, and there are proposals of approximately 12 units. So they are looking at purchasing the property currently and utilizing as much power and energy as they can, because those things can cause brownouts if it gets too crazy. So, but yes, there is that possibility of a data center system set up in Chaves County within the area north of their location along US 70.
So not in competition with?
Not in competition, but in need of.
So has that project been run by or passed by Xcel?
They're still in the process of trying to purchase the property.
We have somebody in the audience that can respond to that question. Mr. Mike Espiritu.
Well, hold on. Wait.
Yeah,
Just
let's wait just a second, please. Let's finish our questions. I'm sorry, what's your name again?
Josh
Josh.
Scogan.
Josh. Okay, let's finish our questions with Josh, and then we'll move on to Mike. Mike, thank you for being here. Any other questions?
Yes, I do have some questions. What kind of battery system are you planning on using?
Technology in that space is evolving so rapidly, and with the timeline of construction being, 2-3 years out, we have not made that final selection.
So what would your preference be in terms of the technology that's available and why?
Great question. As far as the technology, the best, most safest today is lithium iron phosphate. That technology operates at a very stable voltage range. It is not subject to thermal runaway, and
It is subject to thermal runaway. Lithium-ion batteries?
not lithium iron phosphate. is not
Okay.
subject to lithium, is not subject to thermal runaway without severe mechanical damage.
Could you repeat that one more time, the phosphate part?
Lithium iron phosphate.
Okay, thank you.
So most battery energy storage systems on the grid today are made of nickel, magnesium, copper. The industry has moved away from that for both reasons that we don't have any of those input materials mined here in the US in sufficient quantity to support the scale we need here in the US. And it's also subject to thermal runaway.
So have you considered or contacted one of the companies that provides the battery storage system?
Yes, yes.
And who would that be?
We've been in contact with Tesla primarily, and they are operating out of Texas. They have a manufacturing facility there
Right.
that they're expanding. So our preference is to use domestically supplied lithium iron phosphate batteries.
And our fire department, are they capable of, have they had the training and are they capable of, do they have the specialized equipment that's required just in case there is thermal runaway?
It's a great question. While I can't speak on behalf of the training that they've received or the equipment they have, what I can say is we are committed to ensuring that that's the case. We have developed a draft emergency response plan that is part of the application materials that we're discussing with your emergency response staff, including the fire department. We want their input and that to be a very collaborative effort prior to the start of construction. So it's not something that is finished today. I'd say we're in the early stages of those discussions, and we'd like to have many discussions about answering their questions. What are the potential issues that could arise? What are the resources they need on-site and off-site? And how can this project support that?
And I'm assuming that NMED is involved, the environmental department?
Yes, yes.
I do have I've got a bunch of questions, but
Well,
I'll
you
I'll
continue
cut this,
on.
I'll cut this short.
No, Commissioner, you get them all answered. You get your questions answered, because there's others.
The big question that I have is, and I ask the question because I don't know how this works, but how do you propose to handle any toxic chemical leach?
So these batteries are encased in a steel container. That supplies the racks and the cells are further encapsulated and separated by steel barriers and in hard plastic materials.
I'm referring to the panels themselves.
Oh, okay. For the toxic leakage has been a concern with certain technologies, although it requires severe mechanical damage, and then it would have to be, the compound in the panel would have to be melted down.
Such as a hailstorm.
Hailstorm met with fire, potentially. So it would have to be, yes, it's not impossible. The technology of concern is typically, I'm trying to think of the material. There's two technology types for solar panels. The industry primarily uses polysilicon panels. Polysilicon panels are made of quartz sand, which is the second most abundant material on planet Earth next to oxygen. So it is literally quartz sand mined, melted, purified, and made into a cell, and that is what creates the solar cell. That's polysilicon. The other type is thin film, which uses a material in its process called cadmium, I believe. And that has concerned folks because cadmium in itself is a toxic material.
Yes.
Yeah, but we can go into the science of how that would have to be, decomposed and melted and so forth to actually leak.
The question is really, do you have plans, and how would you make sure that if something like that were to happen, that the community isn't stuck with it and,
It's a great question.
okay?
Yep. So our current plan is to use the polysilicon panel, which does not include that cadmium.
Okay,
That's the
and what
simple
about decommissioning? Do you plan on taking out a bond to cover that? Because there have been many, many cases where a solar farm has been set up, and at the end of the period of time that the solar panel lives, that the solar farm lives, the owners walk away and leave the cleanup to the community.
It is a requirement for our Article 25 that they provide a decommissioning, in which we are given the responsibility of reviewing every 5 years to readjust the price because they increase or they decrease. So yes, it
Very
is a
good.
requirement in that.
Very good,
And
Mr. Hunt.
Commissioner Rart, many months ago, years ago, I guess, when we were going through the solar panel craze, all of this was discussed. That's why we did put it in our policies. That's in our, so it's all covered. But yes, I understand your concern about that, and that was ours too, and that's why we covered that in depth.
Yeah, I'm good in terms of questions. Thank you, Madam Chairman.
Okay. Commissioner Dorhopper?
I have several questions, thank you. Number one, you said something about a power rate. Would you explain that? Are you going to charge the power rate, or whoever you sell it to is going to have the power rate?
Great question. So we sell wholesale energy, not
To whom?
to like the utility company. So our rate is a wholesale rate, and then they charge the retail rate back to the customers. So we are not setting the rate directly to the homeowner or local family or business. We are setting a wholesale rate well below the current wholesale rate of Xcel Energy, for instance. And it's up to Xcel Energy to earn their, I think they get, don't quote me on this, but say it's 8% is what the utility commission allows them to receive. They would receive their return.
Do you sell solar panels?
No.
All right, so you have no dog in that race about selling solar panels.
Correct.
All right. Have you done a wilderness study and the impact on the area that you are going to put these
Yes.
solar panels on? Did you put it in your packet?
Yes, we did.
What page?
I have a hard copy of our,
I have a hard copy also. I don't have a hard, you mean it wasn't in my packet?
Included in our,
Yes, I want to see it, because I think that we need to, okay, bring it on. I mean, seriously, I live in a rural area, and therefore I need to see the impact. You got another copy of this book?
yes, I brought a copy for everybody if they would like
Okay,
one.
good. So what does it say?
Yep.
Just an overview, what is the impact and all the animals that are out there?
Yes. So first of all, take this very seriously, and we've done a tremendous amount of on-site and desktop diligence in this regard. We have conducted, we've hired
No, thank
a
you.
professional biologist to go out and survey the property and make their assessment of all the potential habitats and species that this project could impact.
This person that you hired, is he on your payroll, or is he just somebody that you do business with, or is he always doing business with you?
This is nobody, this is not on our payroll. This is a third-party consultant that serves many developers in the industry
Okay,
and other industries. So they've conducted that on-site diligence. The results of that were that they concluded several potential species and habitat that this could impact, and therefore presented some mitigation measures to avoid those impacts. Those findings were submitted to both the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service and the New Mexico Department of Fish and Game for review. And both the Fish and Wildlife Service and the Department of Fish and Game, after thorough review of the information and materials we provided, both sent back written responses confirming that the project will not have any impact on critical habitats or species, and we provided those response letters in our documentation.
Do you know what species that they were talking about?
Some of the one that of potential concern was the lesser prairie chicken.
Oh, God. Really? The lesser prairie chicken is out there?
It is not out there.
All right.
There is a known
Okay.
lek or nesting area. I can't remember exactly how far away, but they found no instances of that. The other one was the burrowing owl, which uses fox dens and things like that to nest and to sleep. And there was no findings of that species on here either.
And the antelope?
The antelope was not identified as a species of concern for either the Department of Fish and Game or the Fish and Wildlife Service.
That's in your packet.
So there's no antelope out there? Ex-
Okay, excuse me, thank you, thank you, thank you.
That was on my list to ask the question.
We will have opportunity for y'all to express your knowledge, so if we will continue on, sorry.
So you say there are no, your study, your paid person said that there was no antelope out there?
No.
Okay.
Ma'am.
Please.
Thank you.
Please,
Ma'am.
you'll have your turn later, not now.
No, that's not what they said. They said that this project will not have any, that was not a species identified as potentially impacted by the installation of this project.
Ma'am.
I have a question for Louis. How many solar farms do we have in that direction? One.
One.
How large is that?
Oh, gosh. I do not know. I do not remember the exact size of that
Excuse me
facility.
for my
Has it-
ignorance, because I wasn't on the commission during that time that it was built out there, but I believe it's on, right off the Pine Lodge, right?
Right.
It's on the other side of the railroad track.
Railroad track, yes. What kind of concerns do you have over that situation versus what they're trying to do? I mean, have weeds been taken care of? Because I noticed that there's large growth.
Commissioner Chair, when I came in, the last phase of that development was to begin, and our biggest concern was the point of operation for this final phase being across the street from the residential unit or residential homes. The contractors, the delivery vehicles were not well-behaved, and so it did require us to monitor those roads with the sheriff's department constantly, monitor their behavior constantly, but these were the contractors and the people that do the construction. We did speak with NextEra quite frequently due to these complications, and so we were happy to see that being completed, as it was directly in front of the residential homes. Can't remember the street name, forgive me. But, yeah, that was the biggest issue that I saw at the time with the final phase of NextEra.
Thank you.
While I was out, Madam Chair, was it talked about the highly traveled road to the compactors?
No, ma'am, you may
Okay.
continue with your questions.
Oh, thank you.
But before we go on, audience, I am so glad to see you passionate about what you want and your ideas. But while we're in hearing, excuse me, while we're in hearing, we run the meeting. So we ask for decorum. We ask for you to be respectful of the person presenting and us hearing the information. So what I need from you is to be patient. I will call you up. You will have your opportunity to either tell us you're for or against, and you will have your time to voice your opinion. But what I need from you right now is to please show us decorum and let us run the meeting. Thank you. Okay, Ms. Dorhofer.
Thank you. Have you traveled that road?
I've traveled all the roads around the project, yes.
Okay, and have you gone further on East Pine Lodge Road to see where the compactors are from the county?
No, I don't recall that.
It butts up against the railroad. You did not look at that to see how much travel is on that road?
No, I have not
Okay.
personally seen that.
All right. I've got quite a few more questions.
Continue on.
What?
Continue on.
Okay. All right. That's Have we finished the discussion of all of the animals that are out there, all of the wildlife, the prairie dogs, the rabbits, the chickens?
I would say that we have completed both extensive desktop diligence as well as on-site investigations, coordinated with both the Department of Fish and Game and the Fish and Wildlife Service. And the result is that with the implementation of some best management practices, the project has no impact as far as those two agencies are concerned on critical habitat or species.
And what are the best management practices?
I would have to refer to the report, but off the top of my mind, some of them include conducting a pre-construction nest survey to identify any migratory bird or birds of prey, and if there are any nests found within a certain distance of the project, that there be setbacks implemented during construction to avoid impacts to those birds during their nesting season. That's one that comes to mind. I would have to apologize, look at the conclusions of the report to look at all those best management practices. But that's an example of one.
Ms. Storhofer,
Yeah.
can I ask one?
One question, John.
Those reports that you indicate, the Fish and Game Department and the Game Departments, is that in this book?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
And we are talking about the two agencies that you named are the federal government?
The Fish and Wildlife Service is a federal agency. The New Mexico Department of Fish and Game is a state agency.
All right, and you've contacted both of them?
Correct. And
And their report is in here?
their written responses
It's in your packet as
after
well.
reviewing our report is in
Okay.
there, yes.
All right, have you contacted, you've contacted the two agencies, have you contacted the homeowners in that area?
Yes, we've invited homeowners, notified them a couple ways. One is we held an open house on March 27th at the Chaves County Joy Center, introducing the proposed project to engage with nearby residents and the community, receive feedback, address concerns, and make it just a coordinated effort to make sure people's concerns and issues are addressed. We've also, there was 104 RSVPs to that meeting, but I think only 13 residents signed in on our sign-in sheet. There wasn't many more that attended than that, maybe 20 in total, some of which live nearby. And then as part of this hearing, Louis, correct me if I'm wrong, but we've sent out notifications to all the neighboring residences, notifying them of this hearing as well.
And you said the meeting was at the Joy Center. What time was the meeting?
I think it started at 5:30 and
Okay.
ended at 8 p.m.
All right, okay.
And that was the only that one meeting was the only meeting.
That's the only meeting so far. It will not be the last. We intend for this to be a collaborative process throughout the remaining development period. Our project design is preliminary at best. We are open to making sure everybody's concerns are addressed, both with elected officials with community residences, with local businesses. We want to make sure this is an asset for the community long-term.
All right, on your development overview sheet here, it says the first one, summary, existing land use, ranching and recreational. How are you going to keep horses, cows, pigs, goats, whatever is out there? Are you going to fence the area?
Yes, the perimeter of the project will be fenced. We are trying to do something unique with this project in terms of sheep grazing. We've talked with the Soil and Water Conservation District about dust in the area, which is a concern in the community, and we don't want this to exacerbate that issue. We want to have this project be a good example of responsible development. So we've talked with the Soil and Water Conservation District about how we could establish native vegetation and maintain that. And they said really the clear way to do that is to plant native vegetation and use sheep grazing. Since that meeting, we've been in communication with the American Solar Grazing Association. They are contacting local sheep grazers in the area, discussing their interest in participating in something like that. And it's something that I think could be a great dual partnership to maintain the agricultural values of the local community.
So you intend to have the sheep eat the grass, so it doesn't come up?
Eat the grass and then with the cycle of nature, keep the soil fertile.
All right, number 2 says access. There are paved county roads to the south and west of the project parcels. Roads will need to be improved for construction. Who's going to improve those roads, the county or you?
We would improve any roads necessary to withstand the deliveries of our trucks.
All right. Next one was the environmental constraints, and it goes on. I want to know when, how long, and what the outcome is. Do you want me to read the potentially it's number 3 on your list, if you want to get your list, because we're going to go several questions on your list.
Is this on the executive summary?
It's on the developmental overview.
Okay,
This is what it looks like.
got it. Thank you. Go ahead with your question again, please.
I want to know when, how long, and the outcome, please.
And sorry, as I flip through this, maybe you can, the
Let
first
me
part of the
see.
question.
Where was it? It was developmental overview site control. It's right after that. It was right after the project overview,
So I think-
page, and it's before the Bantam,
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm looking at the application packet. You're looking at the summary document we created for elected officials to have a quick summary, so I don't have that in front of me. What was the first part of the
Okay,
question?
can you make a
Here.
copy?
I got him.
Oh.
Let me just find it.
Thanks, Louis. Okay.
It's number 3, environmental constraints.
Yes, a potentially jurisdictional waterway is conveyed through the property. Are you asking about what are,
On-site surveys will be completed to confirm the presence, the absence of environmental constraints during the project development. When are you going to do this? How long is it going to take? And what are the proposed outcomes?
great question. So since the time of this document, we've completed our on-site assessments of both wetlands and waterways, as well as on-site hydrology in the existing and proposed condition. With regard to the wetlands and waterways, we had a third-party biologist go out and survey the area, take soil samples, and use that assessment to determine if there are any potentially jurisdictional waterways on the property. That assessment was given to the United States Army Corps of Engineers, who administers wetlands and waterways, and they, after their review of what our biologist had done, provided a written letter response that there are no potentially jurisdictional waterways on the property. Second, we completed a hydrology study to understand if there are any floodplains on the property. There is a natural drainage running from the northwest to the southeast across roughly the center of the property. That natural drainage originates to the northwest and actually now stops at the railroad track and historically probably continued on, but the solar project to the east of us has since filled in that floodplain. And so the actual amount of water this floodplain actually holds, as of recent, probably more than historical. So we understand this is an issue and we don't want to take away floodplain.
Have you been out to this property in the last 2-3 weeks?
No.
No. All right. The soils, to be confirmed with the geological investigations, you said that was already done by the Corps of Army Engineers, correct?
The geotechnical subsurface explorations have not been completed. That's more of an engineering study to determine how deep we drive the piles, which are the foundations for the solar racking. What we did is do hydric soil samples to determine whether or not a wetland exists on the property.
But you haven't been out there in 2 or 3 weeks.
I have not been out there in 2 or 3 weeks.
Okay, next question. I suggest that you maybe check it out. To determine based on well surveys, I'm sure most of the area lives on wells. Have you checked on the well surveys? Or how far they are and what could leach in to the wells?
Mm-hmm. We have not conducted a well study to date. We are not proposing to need any water to operate this system. We are proposing to have above ground water storage tanks of sufficient size to meet the flow rate and the duration that the fire department needs in case of an emergency event. We are not proposing to draw from local well water for the operation of the project. These projects just don't require water to operate. People do consider washing panels to keep them clean and keep them operating at the right energy output, but industry data is suggesting they're just not washed. It's not economical. You just wait for the next rain. So these panels are not typically washed.
All right, John asked a question
Yeah, I don't think that was the.
about the batteries and how the containment is. And you did a survey here. Is that piece of paper? How well was that received? Did you present this to the people that came to the Joy Center?
I apologize, I can't see what you're looking at, but in
I'm
terms
looking
of,
at the Bantam Coyote Willow Energy Park Q1 plus Q2 2025 report. This,
the Bantam report, so
okay, and, well, I'm just asking the question, did you bring up all of the reports to the people that were at the meeting? And if so, how was this report received? Okay.
Oh, this is a report of how well our community outreach
Yep.
is doing.
Right.
Yep. So this is just a report of how many people are visiting the project website, how many people are viewing the Facebook platform we've set up for the project to provide information to the local community. So yes, we are using digital media to help engage with the local community and keep them informed. So the project website has some of the materials in the application packet, including the economic impact analysis, the project summary, the property value report, has all that on there. And then we have a Facebook page that is putting out weekly some information and then guiding them back to the website to have some of their Q&A answered, because we have frequently answered questions on the website and our responses to those.
Okay, again, John asked the question. Number one, your company is out of Delaware?
The LLC, Coyote Willow Energy Park LLC, is a Delaware LLC owned by Accelergen Energy, which
And-
is the parent company.
Which is out of Austin. So there's, who's going to be a site manager? Where are there going to be boots on the ground?
Yep.
Here?
Yep. So during development, operations, or both?
Both.
Yep. So for development, we're here. We're engaging with the community. We're engaging with Mr. Espiritu. We're engaging with local officials, city manager, et cetera. We continue to do that, and we'll do that throughout the development period. We are talking with the local college. We want to set up a scholarship program for the life of the project. So for the next 35 years, give out an annual scholarship to support STEM program for aspiring students. We are working with community-based organizations and have a quarterly giving program where we are giving to local community-based organizations that are helping their community with various needs. So we're present in the development period, and we continue and committed to continue doing that. During the operations period, we will have probably 8 long-term employees. We'd love to hire those people locally. That's why the scholarship program is set in place, to try to help educate folks in the training for this. And those folks will be boots on the ground local.
All right, thank you for that.
Full-time?
Yes. Yeah, about 8 full-time, and then there will be additional support staff as needed.
Okay, John asked a question, but I don't think he went far enough. What happens if hail or sandstorms? Have you ever been out to the property?
Yes.
Have you been out there when the wind blows?
Not of like meaning, no.
Okay, all right, so you don't know what that wind can do. Is there any structures on this property, or is it flat land?
It is primarily flat land. There's a
Flat
few,
land.
Idle oil wells, but it's flat land.
It's flat land, so you haven't been out there when the wind blows?
No.
Okay,
Welcome to Roswell.
okay.
Yeah, we understand dust is a concern.
Gus-
Is that consideration, has that been considered in your overall project with your engineers and your advisors?
Yes, so the site is flat, so that's good news. We will do as little disturbance as necessary to construct the project. And then once it's operating, we want to get that native vegetation established as soon as possible. And then we want to keep that native vegetation, which is part of that sheep grazing plan that we're looking into.
So somebody out there that is connected to this project knows about the wind blow, how the wind blows around here, and is going to make sure that all of these panels and the equipment and the buildings and the structures are secure and not going to fly into the next county?
Oh, yes, yes, absolutely. We will put on factors of safety to make sure these equipment does not come loose in a wind event. I'm not sure what the design speed is, but we've designed systems in New York that withstand 140-mile-an-hour winds.
That might do it.
Hopefully. All right, next question I have. This is on Table 1, total trip generation post-construction. Your conclusion was that Coyote Willow Energy Park is not expected to impose significant transportation impacts. Would you define significant for me?
The standard used for significant in the report I can't speak to.
Oh.
We did an initial traffic generation analysis, or trip generation analysis, that is in the packet. And there is a short-term increase in the amount of construction traffic. We have to get trucks out there to build the system. We are committed to developing a full transportation and traffic management plan prior to receiving a building permit. So happy to make that contingent, because that's what we'll do anyway. And what we'll do is designate routes as necessary to be off limits if folks have concerns about going certain directions. For instance, we've had projects where folks are concerned about trucks going in front of schools or things like that. And with today's technology, we can give the drivers, a very clear directions on where to go and where not to go. And that's been a successful program. We would look to do something very similar here.
And you have been out to East Pine Lodge Road to see?
Yes, I've been on East Pine Lodge
Okay.
Road.
Do you know how wide that road is?
It is not very wide.
Maybe 22 feet?
That sounds about right.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. It's cold in here. Anyway, all right. Next question. Thank you, Madam Chair and Commissioners, for allowing me to ask my
Absolutely.
questions. The Department of the Interior, this is what you were talking about. This United States Department of the Interior, talking about, number one, given the data, who will perform updated species list? Because it says in here that somebody will perform who, when, how many times?
It says every 90 days throughout project construction.
All right, I want him, and who's going to do that?
The project company will do everything that the Fish and Wildlife Service requires, including but not limited to updating species lists every 90 days during construction.
Okay, I think John went over the batteries, so we're not going to have the problem. You do not anticipate the problem that California is having.
Correct.
All right,
We've
that's-
looked into that extensively,
Okay.
and there was a recent fire in California that was using a different technology, number one, the nickel, magnesium, copper, versus the lithium iron phosphate. That was a significant difference. The other difference was that project was double stacked containers, which is not a good idea. And then the third piece is that that project was located indoors inside of a warehouse. So it severely limited emergency responsibility to manage the emergency.
Thank you for that answer.
Chairman, Commissioners,
No.
that, the best system is in the county. It's not in the ETZ.
Oh, that's not in the, well,
Yeah,
I
that's-
care about the county, too. Anyway, next question is from page 1.0, impact of glare from solar modules. You can guarantee that there is no glare? Have you been out there when it's like 110 degrees or 90 degrees and the sun is shining and there are no trees out there, correct?
Correct.
All right, it's all flatland, correct?
Correct.
All right. What about the glare? How are they going to be tipped? I saw all your little, on how they are going to be tipped. Are they tipped, are they fixed tip or do they move?
Yes, they will be what's called single axis tracking.
All right.
So they start in the morning facing the east, they move throughout the day and end the day facing in the west. Glare from solar panels primarily occurs at 0 and 5 degree angles because of the way that the incidence angle hits and reflects off. We've done a report, a third-party glare study.
Is it in our packet?
It is.
Must be it.
It's in the application, in the thick book
Okay.
that is now on your desk.
It's in
What?
Yeah.
It's the next page. This, I have
Yeah.
questions on the
Okay,
next
yeah.
page.
So, and that glare study didn't say there will be absolutely no glare, but the amount of times it does occur is very low, like within, less than 1% of the total hours of the year. It's a very small amount. And even when all the perfect things align, the sun is setting, the modules are at the right angle, and the person is staring directly at them, it could happen, but it's all of glare that is not damaging to retinal. Solar panels do not produce red glare, which is the type of glare that is damaging to the retinal eye. So not that there won't be any glare, but it's of such low amount and of a type that is not damaging that the conclusions of the report that it is not a significant concern.
Now, you said that you were going to have sheep, or you may have that. There's been studies that they're great lawnmowers. Is there going to be a coating on these panels?
There will be an anti-reflective coating that helps mitigate the glare.
And how long does this coating last?
It is on the inside, so I think for as long as the life of the panel, 35 years.
35 years, all right. Is there enough of the tilting at certain times that could cause grass fires? Because it's flat land, and I'm sure that there's weeds and other things on there. So it's not going to be tilting enough where the light can hit the glass. Remember in biology class where you can light with your glasses?
Yeah, long time since I've taken biology class, but yes, I totally understand what you're saying, how it would focus the light onto the ground and cause the ground to heat up. We've done a heat islanding study as well, because we understood there was a concern in the community around these projects causing the area to get hotter. But that's beside the point. What you're trying to address is focused, concentrated solar, which these are not doing. So these projects don't refract light and heat, they absorb it. That's how they produce energy and turn it into electricity. So concentrating reflected light onto the ground and causing a wildfire is not a concern with this technology.
If I might jump in for a moment, on page 3, I think there's a very interesting table that shows that the solar glass that they're going to use reflects less than smooth water, reflects less than glass,
I read that.
and certainly reflects less than steel. So it seems to me that that's a non-issue.
I was just checking with him. Do you know what a lumen is? That's okay.
Could you
Do you
please
know what lumen is?
Lumen.
Yes.
It's a measure of light intensity, I believe.
Right. Do you know how many lumens we're talking about with this project?
I don't know.
Okay.
But our third-party
A
scientist.
third party
who
did this.
completed- The third party completed the glare study, yes.
Okay.
All of these reports that are in this packet were done by third-party unaffiliated companies.
I'm checking my notes, just one moment here.
While she's doing that, Josh, the question was asked, will there be people here that we might even recognize, like you? But I do have the key team members in front, and 3 of them look like they could possibly be here. Can you tell me yes or no? You are one of them. Are you going to be in and out of Roswell, Chaves County while this is going through? Construction-wise? The construction time?
During the construction time, I cannot guarantee that I'll be here often enough to be of a significant. But what we want to do to ensure that whatever concerns we have, we implement them into the special use permit conditions. So that puts that contract in place. So whatever word I give you, I could fall off the earth tomorrow.
Okay.
What I want to do is leave you with binding obligations that if we're not following through with them, you could issue a nonconformance and take away the permit.
Okay, and again, since the question was asked earlier, what about the senior project manager, Matt Ryan? Is he here now, or will he be here? What's
He
his
was
status?
unable to be here today. He will be here for sure through the remainder of the development period. And if he's still with us as a company, not that he's not doing a great job, but you just can't guarantee anything in life, yes, he will be here during the construction period.
Okay, my last thing is to say to you, 7 against 1, you've done really well. But keep in mind, you got 30 against 1, or 40. So, but keep it up. You're doing fine. I mean, you've done a great job.
Appreciate the thoughtful questions.
I have one more question. this one here, and it says noise up on top. And then it has a little, I don't understand this. Would you explain this to me?
Yeah, I didn't understand it the first time I looked at it either. It's similar to a topographic map, which, requires some education to learn how to read those as well. They're noise contours. So what that's trying to show you is the decibel level that would be extending beyond the property line. So let's say 50 decibels, for example, would be in yellow. I'm not looking at it right in front of me, but that would be how far 50 decibels could reach beyond the property line. Now, since the time of the application, we've updated the noise study to move the battery system further away from nearby residences to make sure it is not going to increase sound levels above what is experienced today, as well as meet the local noise ordinance, which I think is 50 decibels at all residences. That's our standard goal, is 50 decibels as a minimum. Since the redesign of the project and the layout, which again is still preliminary and subject to further adjustments based upon feedback, the sound study assumes all the perfect conditions are in place, that the atmospheric conditions are such that sound travels at its optimum level, that the system is operating as loud as it potentially can at that moment, etc. And the loudest decibel reading at the nearby residence was 47 decibels. We're going to continue working on that. 47 decibels is the same level as in the report, I think it was just of a residence. So it wouldn't cause any nuisance or added sound to what folks in that area are experiencing today.
The same sound level as what?
A residence.
Okay.
I have one more
Chairman and
question.
Commissioners, we did require specific sound limitations on all their units when dealing with solar and battery, as you recall in our Article 25. As part of our learning curve that we had with the community solar projects that we saw in 22 and 23. So
When we first
I do have
Thank you, Mr. Hadamio.
I do have one more question about the noise. So when you go out there, I'm sure you're going to go out there. When you go out there and you're standing in the field and you're talking to somebody, can somebody from the neighboring residents hear you? Do you know how quiet it is out in the county?
Yes, I'm aware that it is a vacant property that enjoys a very quiet condition currently.
Okay.
And we are going to design the system such that it does not either violate the requirements that the Planning and Zoning Board has recently adopted or increase sound levels that folks are experiencing today.
Thank you so much, Josh. I'm done for answering all my questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioners?
I have one.
Okay.
Can you expand on the heat island, please?
Yeah, so heat island effect is the effect that folks feel on a black parking lot. Sun hits a black parking lot, it heats up, and you feel that heat rise off. That's heat islanding, it's called. So what we did is a heat island study to see if the heat absorbed by the solar panels causes a similar effect and would therefore make it hotter for folks living in and around the solar facility. Again, that study was performed by a third-party scientist who's expert in this area, and their conclusion was that while the heat immediately above the panel during peak daytime can be hotter, that quickly dissipates from the perimeter and rises. So it does not, like within 50 feet or something, if you were standing from the solar field, you wouldn't be experiencing that heat island effect with solar panels that you do with a parking lot.
So the residents that are inside of this project will not have any effect from heat island?
Not based on the results of that study. because we are, with the closest a panel comes to a property line is 100 feet, and the house would be even further. Now, we understand that community, Shepherd community, is sort of a, kind of going into this larger property, and if we need to make design adjustments, we're open to that.
Thank you. We appreciate your information and standing up here and taking questions.
Yeah, well, thank you so much
And
for the opportunity.
we may call you back.
Yes, of
Okay.
course.
We do have staff here, and Meredith, I think you wanted to respond to some information, please.
And could we also, Madam Chair, bring
We will.
Mr. Espiritu up?
Yeah, we will, after staff. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair, Commissioners. Meredith Hildreth with the City of Roswell. May I approach? I have a few handouts for you.
This isn't the end. Yes. Thank you, Adina.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, Madam Chair, what I've handed out is a newsletter from the Friends of Bitter Lake National Wildlife Refuge and a couple of other items as well. And just to let you know, I'm the president of the Friends of Bitter Lake National Wildlife Refuge as well. So this project,
I'm sorry, this information came from the Friends of Bitter Lake?
yes.
National- Okay, thank you.
So what you have before you is a newsletter with an article on bird migration and also on the antelope-friendly fencing from the net on, that's on page, the bird migration is on page 4.
Bird migration, yes.
Um,
1, 2,
Mr.
3.
Jaramillo is asking for a break.
Okay. Three, bird migration. On this, see right here.
Madam Chair. So I just wanted to show the proximity of the site under consideration in proximity to the Bitter Lake National Wildlife Refuge. And also just to let you know that there's also a letter from the interim manager of the refuge regarding the antelope-friendly fencing. So also, just to let you know that I think there's a balance that can be had between the proposed project to provide solar energy and more renewable energy, and also the current concerns of the public who are here regarding wildlife and habitat. So the Fish and Wildlife Service has collaborated on projects like this, so like the Mojave Desert, and there's a multitude, a plethora of information on the Fish and Wildlife Service website, so, and projects where there has been collaboration. So there's going to be concerns about things like a lake effect of the solar panels and the migratory sandhill cranes and other waterfowl that use the refuge, and also the habitat for different animals and antelope and the antelope-friendly fencing. But I think that there's probably collaboration that can be made between Fish and Wildlife Service, the State Game and Fish, and the solar company to make it the best of all worlds for everybody. So I'm just giving you information. That's all I'm here to do, and as you make your decision.
Any questions of Ms. Hildreth? I have one. Did you provide this information to Mr. Jaramillo ahead of time? Was he aware?
I gave him the letter from Carl Jacobson with the Bitter Lake National Wildlife Refuge.
But he,
That was
just-
that was one of the last items.
okay. Thank you.
Yes, the Bitter Lake wasn't able to be here today, but you do have the letter from the district. Thank you. So just for information purposes.
Thank you.
And I believe there can be a balance. Okay.
What about rip safety? And I'm talking about the little horny toad is what we called it as when I was
Yeah.
younger.
Ms. Hildreth,
Because it's now becoming extinct, right?
can you address that?
I don't know about that particular species. There are endangered species on the refuge, and there are some, that are listed as threatened.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, I think Mr. Spiritu stepped out for a second to take a phone call. So I don't see him. Break? Yes. Okay. So the commissioners are requesting a 5-minute break. We will take a break at this time. It's 11:31. We will come back at 11:36. That's 5 minutes. Okay. Okay. And audience, if you need to use the restroom or get a drink of water or whatever, feel free, and we'll be back in 5 minutes. Thank you.
Meredith, don't leave.
Thank you for the vote of confidence. I'm going to have to work real hard to learn this. I thought that Pancho just did a great job.
He did. It's just a sad thing that hasn't happened. I don't know what his illness was or,
Yeah, I don't either. So, just a quick break here.
Yeah. I was supposed to go see him. So I had eye surgery here last month. And so
How did it go?
It went good. Sally Melvin,
Yes, sir.
she's the one who did it there.
Yeah,
Hey.
is she with English Store or whatever?
Yeah, Dr.
Remind me.
Yeah, you should. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, no kidding. How are you doing?
Oh, really? Was that?
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, can't complain, man. We've been blessed with good rain, and it's been awesome.
That's what I had.
So, anyway, long story short, they ordered the wrong lens. They did my left eye
Now,
first.
that October rain.
And then when they were going to do my right eye, I was there ready for surgery within a week.
Did you sure get some big?
They ordered the wrong lens. So
I'm wondering.
I had to wait a while. So she thinks now that they have put the wrong lens in my eye.
Oh, my God.
So I had to get new specs, but on my readers, I'm not seeing well with this right eye. Everything, I mean, I can read, but everything is kind of juggled there.
You know what?
And it's,
You guys did get some.
and I told her that.
Yeah. I gotta tell you, I haven't been back, but I've been concerned because I used to have absolutely, my wife used to call me eagle eye because I could see perfectly into the distance, whatever it was, you know, even sitting in my living room looking at the TV on the other side of the room and not anymore. Not only that, I've always seen crap in my eyes. Do you have that?
Yeah, like sand. Like if you have sand, it's gritty.
Yes.
Yeah.
Always. And when I wake up in the mornings, now that stuff is caked into the corner of the eye, and it burns. So, and I've never had that before.
Well, I did a breast back with her also, and she just told me that's going to take time. Your eyes are taking. She goes, it may take a couple of months, you know, to get adjusted.
Well, I had mine done in May of last year.
Come back, and you're still having it.
I still have it, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So I wonder what the heck that is.
Yeah, I'm not a physician. So.
Give me a minute, I'll be right back.
Go ahead.
Good. Not every time you're successful. About 3 days away, there's a good chance. So we're in 40 days now, and it's okay, need to be cut 2 weeks ago. Yeah. It's good for the ground, it's good for the plant, but it's not. No. Yeah. 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 Okay, yeah. How many? Really? Doing good? Well, they're quicker than a pecan. Huh. How did he plant them?
Good. I look for a machine, but they don't have it.
Just kind of.
Thank you, senor. Any ice to go with it?
Oh, yeah. Thank you. There's a lot of guys, there's a lot of interest in starting to have 40 statues.
No redundancy.
You tried so much.
You have lots of students.
That's why I got it.
Well, that's, they're talking about orchards, so, I mean, they're commercial. So we'll see. I don't know. Lots of interest coming. Yeah. Hey, good seeing you.
Well, no, after they started, But they still continue on. Okay, but I knew that you weren't going to get up and do anything.
What's that? This poor guy.
Where did John go?
Since we get the other commissioners here, we will reconvene. It is 11:38. We are 2 minutes over what our break time was, but we will start with our hearing, continue with our hearing. And must have been a busy bathroom. The line must have been extensive. We're waiting on Commissioner Arard, and we will begin. Mr. Espiritu, you will be our next guest. And audience, again, I remind you, this is a hearing. We are here to gather information from our presenters, so we do expect decorum. Mr. Espiritu, please come forward and state your name and purpose.
Good morning, Madam Chairman, Commissioners. My name is Mike Espiritu. I'm the President and CEO of the Roswell Chaves County Economic Development Corporation. As a refresh, our role is to create new economic opportunities, drive in business, create a lot of great jobs, high-wage jobs, capital investment, create more GRT to make a better quality of place, among other things that we do. I want to speak about this energy issue, and Excelgen is, we attended, my whole team attended that evening at the Hope Center, and it wasn't very well attended, but there was a lot of really good information. So I'm not sure how many of you attended, but it was very well presented there. Unfortunately, everyone's busy. I do want to share with you that, as Louis mentioned about a data center, so there is a tremendous need for energy, as Josh stated, tremendous need, not just here, across the country, across the globe. And with AI and cloud AI and all these things that you're hearing about in the news, the demand for energy is got such a large appetite that our grid's struggling, and will struggle for a number of years. About 3 years ago, I was on a conference session, several sessions with Xcel Energy, the Southwest Power Service, consultants, all talking about the issue with not having enough energy to meet the demands of tomorrow, and that was 3 years ago. Data centers, what are they? If you simplistically, they're a large warehouse full of computers. That's what they are. Mm-hmm. But there is a project that the EDC is working on, and they are looking to Excelgen as to being a partner in providing some of the power needs to drive that energy demand. This project is a very large project. It'll be the only one like it in the entire country, right here in Chaves County. The number of jobs it'll create over 10 years is over 1,032, I believe it is. The economic impact over 10 years is $1.3 billion.
Over 3 years.
Over 10 years.
Oh, 10 years.
$1.3 billion over in Chaves County.
Bill, with a B.
Yes, ma'am, with a B. And why is that important? Because there's nothing like this, because that, again, that need for energy. And that's why Excelgen is such a good partner in this regard to help power those demand needs. Now, why is this company coming to Chaves County? It's not just because of Excelgen. Because because there's such a high demand for power today and tomorrow, that the marketplace, companies are now looking towards, and data centers in particularly, are looking towards self-generation of power, because there's not enough power on the grid as we know it. So this company, it will be pulling off the Transwestern pipeline of natural gas. They'll use renewable energy, and they'll work with Xcel Energy as needed to generate the power needs. Can they do it? Sure they can. But it takes partners to make it all work. I believe that a project like this is Xcelogen, Coyote Willow certainly helps us get to that next step. They're going to purchase, this other company's going to purchase a lot of land. Some of it public, some of it private, but also go through the paces to do what's right. This company's been in business a number of years. They are very well informed, very well concerned about the many things that Commissioner Dornhofer mentioned, and will be a good partner in our county, I believe. I could be mistaken, but at this point today, Madam Chairman, I think we're looking ahead to what's good for not necessarily the company, but the companies that'll be part of that campus, because it's a data center campus of more than one data center. And if you did think about a visual, what that would look like, it's kind of like a Google complex. You know, they'll have places for people to go have lunch. They'll have open park spaces besides the workspaces. The average wages for their employees will be around a little over $100,000 a year. These are really good jobs for Chaves County. It'll bring people in, but it'll also create opportunities for the people, the youth here in Chaves County and Roswell, and to work with not only the public schools like we already are doing, but also with our university. So we're kind of excited about the project. We hope it comes to fruition. It's not just a Chaves County project, but it's a state of New Mexico project. So our state officials are very involved in this project as well, because it's a pretty big deal. Only place that can do what they need to do, believe it or not, is in Chaves County. And that's what companies like Xcelogen can help provide some of the power, but not all of it, some of the power they need to be successful. Madam Chairman, Commissioners, we support a project like this. We know there's always going to be issues to some degree, and Commissioner Dornhofer, you're exactly correct. Those are a lot, and as you could tell by the answers that I listened to, in my opinion, I've been doing this a number of years, especially in the energy field in projects, and this company appears to have a lot of the answers, a lot of the methods, and all the processes in place already to move forward, and I find that tremendously exciting, because typically the companies I've worked with haven't had those type of responses. They weren't as well equipped. They didn't hire those third-party professionals besides within their own staffing, but those professionals that do this every day for other places around the country. I think that's important. So I urge you to consider this. I know that the residents area have some concerns. I'm sure, and I know that they would love to address those, I would suspect. But anything I can do to support you in that regard, I can't speak a lot to their project, but I can speak enough to say that I know that they're deeply in talks with providing that energy now. I think that they're going to provide not only the energy for that company, but other opportunities, and that's important. Madam Commissioner, I stand for your questions or comments by any of you.
I have one. So you said that our commissioners and our elected officials, you've been working with them extensively on this project?
Not the Xcelogen, but the other project. We have not announced it yet because we're waiting for state approval on some funding, because it's a very large capital investment, obviously. But yes, in fact, we're working with the county, working with the county commission, because it is in the county. It's not in the city of Roswell. So yes, ma'am.
Correct. And I have a couple of questions to address that too, but that will be of Josh, so. Commissioners. Thank you. We
Thank you very much.
appreciate your input.
Appreciate it.
Josh, may I call you back up for a quick second? I have a couple of questions that was in our report that I need clarification on. Okay, so this project is in conjunction, you're in the ETZ, you're not in the city, you're in the ETZ and the county.
Correct.
Correct. Okay, so how much, in our report, it says that we have 750 acres is our max in the ETZ. Can you specifically tell me how much acreage you will be consuming in the ETZ?
We are going to be consuming 680 acres in the ETZ. Our property totals 1,835 acres.
I saw that. Mhm.
Of that, 783 are in the ETZ. However, our project only proposes to cover 680 of those 783 acres.
So 783 acres in the ETZ
That's of raw property, correct?
of raw property, but you're only going to be occupying 680 acres in the ETZ.
Correct.
Am I hearing that? Okay. Because of with the solar panels, that's maximum 70%.
Correct. Our ground coverage ratio is 30%, meaning 70% of the area is not covered with solar.
Okay, and so we're your first stop. You have not gone to the county commissioners to present your proposal.
Correct. We have not gone to the county commissioners.
Okay. Yes.
Sir, could you address the, and I'll give you the wording in a moment, but could you address the email from Carl Jacobson, who's the acting refuge manager? And he said, as stated on the phone, my concern with the solar farm is that it will prevent pronghorn, i.e. antelope, from migrating. Pronghorn rely on seasonal migrations to raise their young and find wintering grounds, and the fencing they will put up will preclude the movements because it likely won't have a 20-inch space at the bottom for the pronghorn to move under. Could you address that, please?
Yes, this is the first time this concern has been raised to me. Our biologists, the Fish and Wildlife Service, nor the Department of Fish and Game have raised this concern. However, I see here that this is from Carl Jacobson with Fish and Wildlife. Must be with a local office at the Bitter Lake National Wildlife Refuge, who was in attendance at our open house on March 27th.
So could you prepare, I'm sure we'll be seeing each other more.
Yes.
Could you prepare an answer for that by checking with your biologist and having a conversation with them?
Yes, I could, and we will do that. What I can say now is that if there are migratory concerns, and this project had a negative impact on a migratory concern, there are tools to address that, including open spaces periodically in the fencing to allow animals to pass.
So we look forward to hearing about that. Also, I'd be interested in your view on the other concern that he had about waterfowl and invertebrates confusing solar panel for water. You know, I've heard of that. I've also heard of birds, hundreds and thousands of birds smashing into certain buildings because they're not, they look transparent to the birds. Your solar panels, do they address that concern?
Yes. Polycrystalline panels today are called monocrystalline. Panels in the past were polycrystalline, which means poly is an adjective for numerous. So it had a number of impurities in it, which made it sort of blue. Today, the industry has moved toward monocrystalline, meaning there's no impurity and it's all black. So the panel will be black, and that has since mitigated this concern of lake effect for migratory birds.
So you're saying that a migratory bird or a flock of migratory birds would not confuse that with water?
Correct. That is what the Fish and Wildlife and the Department of Fish and Game are now saying, and they're not concerned about.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Seeing no other questions, thank you. Okay, we're still in the hearing part, so I will call those in favor of this project to please come forward, state your name and your position. Let the record reflect there is no one to speak in favor. Now, I will ask for, before we start, folks, I realize you're passionate about this, but we are in a hearing, and I expect you to use decorum, and I expect you to come to the microphone and say your name and state your position. I would ask that you keep your comments exactly to the topic, and redundancy will take forever, so let's keep this to a minimum if we can. I will not put a time limit because I want everyone heard, but I would expect you to give information that's relevant and in a concise manner. First one, step forward. In opposition.
Thank you for listening.
Absolutely.
My name is Teresa Helms. My husband Curtis and I live on Shepherd Road. We have for nearly 20 years. We bought our property where we did to not be in the city, to be able to live rurally. We have a nice, quiet community. We see lots of wildlife close to our house all the time. I went around last night and talked to quite a few of my neighbors on Shepherd Road and on Calumet Road, and they actually signed a petition that I have. I didn't talk to anybody who was in favor of this. We didn't talk about what you've heard here about how much revenue it's going to bring or if it's going to do a scholarship. We talked about our homes and the fact that we've built them and we've made areas to raise our children. We didn't move out there so that we could look at an industrial scale solar farm. The state of New Mexico has thousands of acres of BLM land that aren't in somebody's door that could be used for something like this. This is going to absolutely go around our complete neighborhoods, our whole area where we live, where we raise our kids, where we have our animals, where we take care of our homes. And not to go any further or to take up a bunch of your time, I would like you to all just consider whether you would want this in your doorway or not, no matter how much money it brings to the state or the city. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
Thank you for your time. My name's Charlie Spear. I live at 4900 Calumet Road. The main concern, I agree with Ms. Helms totally. The other concern that has not been brought up to you folks or the company is there are several drainages and fingerlets of the Brindle River that attach to these properties.
Could you speak into the microphone? I'm sorry.
There's several drainages and fingerlets of the Brindle River that attach to these properties, run across them, butt up to them. And my concern is what kind of environmental impact do we have of the runoff of these facilities as far as water contamination to our animals. There's several farms right there that they didn't even do any kind of study for that. And then the wildlife, you know, we have a herd of mule deer that's 40 plus that roams the neighborhood. There's antelope, there's the migratory birds that go to Bitter Lakes, which have already been affected by the other solar farm. So I think there needs to be a little more studying done before we make any kind of decisions. Appreciate your time.
Thank you, Mr. Spear. Next.
Hi, I'm Candy Skeen, and we live at 2001 Ladrones. And I had just three things. One, I was very curious about this grass that you're going to plant. Who's going to water the grass? Because this is very unusual to have the water that we've had in the last month. Are they going to water this grass? How's it going to actually grow that a sheep would have enough to eat? Because all of us who live out there are very familiar with the drought area that we live in. It's a arid area. Am I correct? So,
Correct.
who's going to water that grass that's supposed
Okay.
to grow for the sheep? And the other thing I wanted to know, if there's no buyer contracted to buy this energy, which he said there's no one ready, signed up, yeah, we'll buy it, are they going to construct this solar farm with no buyer attached to it? Which doesn't seem like a very good business plan to me. So will you have a buyer for the energy before you build the thing? And this data center, the last thing I want to ask about is data center. Is that a hypothetical? And, you know, it's in the works, and we're really hoping for that. It's a lot of hypothetical. So I understand the need for more energy for those data centers, but it seems like everything is a little bit up in the air and hypothetical. So I think before we start worrying about a bunch of data center needing a whole bunch of energy that we don't have, let's see some more information that there actually is going to be a data center, the land's bought, the construction's underway, and a little less hypothetical. So thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Spear. Next.
Hello, I'm Michelle Therian, and I'm at 5106 Calumet, and I'm against this.
Pardon me, your last name again?
Therian, Therrien. Okay, so I'm looking at this map that's in your guys' agenda. I printed it out before I got here. I see that in this area, there's not any solar panels. But right here, where all of these people right here live, the solar panels go all the way around their homes. I also see that they're gonna put a fence all the way around it. And like Mr. Spear said, we have animals, antelope, deer, all kinds of different lizards. There's even great horny toads out there, and you guys are going to be destroying all of them if you approve this. I can even show you pictures of the deer in this property that they're wanting to take over. I also have 2 children that we live out there to get away from the crime and to get away from the noise and to get away from all of these extra vehicles that will be out there because of this. And on top of that, we already have problems with Pine Lodge being the bridge is right now we can't even drive there. So how are they going to do this project if our bridges keep getting knocked out with these floods or with these water issues? And the only other way to access that would be through like Red Bridge and those areas, which all have bridges that you have to go over that are getting knocked out and taken over with when we have these floods. So I see where he's coming from, and I think solar farms are great ideas, but why do we need to put it in the middle of an area that has residential? I see these other ones are on the other side of the other side of the railroad tracks. They don't really cause us any issues. I also know he said that the heat island effect with their third-party agency that did their study said there's no effect, but I've done lots of research in the last week, and everything I read says it raises it from 7 degrees to 20 degrees up to 1,000 feet from the solar farm. I am on Calumet. The solar farm is going to be within 40, 50 feet of my home. You can't tell me I'm not going to have some sort of heat rise from that, which is going to up my cost of energy because it's going to take more to cool my house when it's 110 outside. I've also read studies that when the temperatures are too high, like over 100 degrees, the efficiency of these solar panels actually goes down. They lose about 20% of the energy because they can't absorb it because it's too hot. We have summers where we go 6, 7, 8 weeks of 105 plus that whole summer. So how is that going to be beneficial for our area if they're going to be losing energy? How is that not going to affect our homes with the energy they are losing to be, rising the air, like I'm saying with the island, the heat island effect? I had another point, but I lost it. Hold on.
You said wildlife, family, bridge, and location.
Uh-huh. And my mind went blank. And it was for something. If I think about it, I'll come back up.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Theron. Next.
My name is Veda Fry, and this is my husband Larry Fry. We reside at 4706 Shepherd Road. We are about a half a block off of Pine Lodge. If you look at your county map that you provided us, our home is located right under the H in the word shepherd. We are going to be, as previously stated, completely surrounded. When I look out my kitchen window, I will see nothing but solar panels. The black square that you see is going to be a piling yard, which I will have to look at. Being completely surrounded, the animals have been mentioned. We do have animals. I'd like to address the noise issue and the heat issue that was previously mentioned. We've lived there for over 25 years. We've been there through the construction of the previous solar panels. They're about 1.3 miles down the road on Pine Lodge from us. We can see it, but it's in the distance. The noise issue. Due to the heat of the day, the workers were working at night, and they were driving their piles that the representative spoke of during the evening because of the heat. And because it's flat and it's in the country, the noise carried. You heard from the time you went to bed all day long until it got hot, the constant banging and dinging of that pile driver. The second issue I'd like to speak of just briefly, because the wildlife and everything else, is the flooding. In October, our mobile home was standing in 7 inches of water. We stayed up till midnight watching the water climb. It never made it into the house, but it did go up our steps. We're on the lower end of Shepherd Road, so therefore the water, our particular acreage is on the lower end. The water came across there. It flowed out onto Shepherd Road and crossed Pine Lodge Road onto the other side and by the Sanchez's on the corner. 7 inches of water. We were standing in it the next morning, and for days after, you deal with the mud. So there is a flooding issue on that end of the street that needs to be recognized. Behind us, our 5 acres go back to where the other drainage ditch is, or we're just on the corner of that other drainage dip. It's not the big dip in Pine Lodge, it's the shallow dip that goes across there. When it rains, as my neighbors can attest, when you go through that dip, both sides of the road are like lakes. The water has come up clear to the road. The road issue, those roads out there, my husband was in construction, are chip-sealed roads. Pine Lodge Road was redone with oil and sand. The water erodes those roads. They're closed right now, as the lady said. We have two ways we can go in and out to our properties because the roads are closed. In addition to that, and this will be the last thing I say, is the noise factor. When the roads go out and traffic comes in off of Red Bridge Road to Pine Lodge, and the rest of Pine Lodge is closed, Shepherd Road has been used before as a truck bypass. I can tell you the noise and the vibrations are constant when trucks are going up and down that road. I just don't feel getting up in the mornings and looking out my kitchen window or going for my walk in my back 5 acres with my dogs and being surrounded by solar panels. I don't think it's fair. We did not know about the open house. We don't get the Roswell Daily Record. Until I picked up these certified letters, I knew nothing about this. And we are kind of in shock because now our property values are gone. If this solar panel, and we're in a square, we're in their field, or will be in their field. If we were to leave, we couldn't even sell our property. Thank you for listening. I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Ms. Fry.
And
Oh,
he has
Mr.
one
Fry,
issue.
yes, okay.
If you look at this, these are people. This is fenced in. Doesn't that look like a prison yard to you?
Okay.
Thank you, thank you. Next. Okay.
Okay, so he mentioned something.
Candy, would you mind?
Oh, sorry, Michelle Therian.
Michelle, sorry.
Yes. So he mentioned something about that the other solar farm is sold to Xcel Energy. That's who owns the other solar farm. And they're thinking about maybe doing it with Xcel. Does he understand that everybody from Pine Lodge north is not on Xcel? So the place that he's putting those solar panels are for Central Valley Electric, not Xcel. So he wants to invade our space to maybe potentially give electricity to everybody in the city of Roswell, but not to us in the county that have to look at it every day and have to feel the heat rise and see our wildlife be destroyed. That's it.
Thank you, Ms. Theron. Anyone else?
My name is Perry Harper. I have a little farm, 2211 Isler Road, 80 pecan trees. I have horses, I have cows. This proposed solar farm would be right up my living room window within 200 yards of me. I enjoy watching the deer and the antelope. They migrate through my place and come into my farm and eat, and I water them. Between me, with my 26 acres, and my brother-in-law, we have over 100 acres there. And I'm worried about if I just retired, and if I want to sell my place right now, with what they're proposing is going to be worth a minimum of $100,000 less. I just spent over $100,000 drilling a new well on the place, and I have the old well. I had it repurposed for a water well for my cows, and what I wanted to do was use a solar panel. Alan Hopper's my well guy, and I said, you know, after he got my irrigation well going, I said, what about those little wells, you know, it's permitted for my cows to drink and water, for watering the horses and that kind of thing. And he said, don't touch it with a 10-foot pole. He said, those solar panels, and I don't know anything about solar panels, but he said, just hook it up to electric, you won't have any problems with it, because I did an experiment with my well at my house, and he said that the first 2 years, it worked at 100% efficiency. And after that, it went downhill really, really quick. And he said after 10 years, it was less than 20% efficiency. And I know you were talking about, you've done some studies about these solar panels not lasting, and there's people that actually built them walking away from them and making people that live there have to deal with cleaning up the mess because all of a sudden it's not profitable anymore because it's not producing the electric that it was supposed to. Now, I don't know, he's saying there's two different kinds and they're using the good kind and all that. I don't understand all that. All I know is
Well,
I shouldn't.
the important point there is that they're going to be required to have a bond.
We will address that in just a minute,
We've
okay?
already,
Thank you.
we've discussed that.
Thank you.
I was just like them. I didn't know anything about a meeting until I got, 3 days ago, I got it in my mailbox, a little flyer. And I didn't buy that place to, work myself to death. And then when I retired and too old to farm it, I can't sell it for what it's worth. It's really unfair. Are they gonna buy my place for what it's worth? I mean, I might can find another place like it, but probably not in that little niche. Thank you for
Thank you, Mr. Harper.
Listen to me.
Yes. Next.
My name is Becky Jones. I live at 4800 Calumet Road, right next to Charlton. We have been on the property for 34 years, our entire married life. We started out there in a 12 by 60 trailer. We lived in it for 5 years. We sold it, we bought a 14 by 80 trailer and lived in it for another 5 years. At that time, my husband owned the land when we first got married. There wasn't hardly anybody out there. And of course, Roswell's growing, and everybody wants to move to the country because it's quiet. We built a home in 1999 there on the property, and outside our kitchen window, and we live directly across from what this is going to be. There is a bodart patch. There are trees there. And it is so nice to wake up in the morning and see those deer, see the quail, see the other animals across the road, see their footprints on our property. On a quiet night, it is so quiet there. There's a house about a quarter-mile away. And they can sit out on their porch and have a conversation, and on a quiet night, you can hear part of that conversation. I don't have much. At 65, we're gonna leave our house to our kids. We only have one son. And the plan was for him to be able to raise my grandchildren in that home under those circumstances. And I don't know that much about solar fields. I didn't know about it until Charlie called me. We didn't get anything until we got where we had to go pick it up at the mailbox because we were out of town. That's not what we want. That's not what any of us want. We don't want to live across the street from a solar panel, solar farm, whatever the heck you want to call it. If they're going to put this Google AI, whatever, out in the county, why can't they build the solar panels closer to it? Benefit it more. But not harm the residents of this county. And that's what this would be doing. It'll benefit the pocketbooks of the state of New Mexico. It'll benefit the city of Roswell. But as a county member, it is not going to benefit us. And so I want everyone that is against this to stand up. This is your community. These are the people that you have been, that have brought you here. Please stand with us and don't let this happen to us. Don't take our lives away the way we want them to be. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Jones. Next. You're welcome to come up too. That will expedite it. If everybody that wants to talk, just come on up, stand in line, and let's get this moving. Because I know you're passionate, you have something to say, and we want to hear. Mr. Nutt.
Hi, my name is Buddy Nutt. I live at 6034 Calumet Road. We've been there for 24 years. We own our home. We've paid it off. We will be on the eastern fence line of this project. Everything's pretty much been said, but as somebody that worked, I've been in the fire service for 25 years. I've been a volunteer for 12 years. The impact that the fire has that these solar panels have on the property is amazing. You can't go in there and you can't fight the fire. You have to wait for the fire to get to the fence. That's what they told us with the solar farms that are already there. They told us, don't go in there, don't do anything, just wait for it to get to the fence. It's electricity, it'll kill you. Okay, well, that's happening and it's burning the batteries, burning the panels. The question was asked, I believe, what about leakage into the wells, into our water? I didn't hear a direct answer. I didn't hear a confirmed direct answer. It just kind of tiptoed around it. Which a lot of the questions you guys asked were just kind of politically answered. But like I said, as far as they want to get with the fire departments that are out there, one attempt that I know of has been made. They brought some pizza, they brought some ball caps, and then they left. They had no communication with us. So anything they want to do, they haven't done yet. I'll give them that. But it just sounds like a bunch of smoke and mirrors right now to me. So my grandchildren are with us very often. We live on that fence line where it's going to be. I don't want them to have to play and listen to that and be near that, especially with the construction. I'm worried about the construction coming down the blacktop where I live because this road's out or this road's out, you know. I do have small grandchildren, and I don't want them to be around that. We have fought for a long time to keep that road closed off, and we've done really good so far. So you saw everybody stand up. So if you think there's not an opposition, you need to look again. All righty, thank you.
Thank you. Next.
My name is Deborah Blue Haney. I live on 2306 Walker Road, right with these folks here. I've been there for over 35 years. I've been a nurse in this community, still am, for 48 years. And you're turning in our community that we live into a wasteland, a no man's land. I'm also on Central Valley Electric and Berendo Water. I don't want those things affected. I do not believe the propaganda that was listed here today. And smoke and mirrors is probably a more political term, if you will. But I don't see that I'm going to be getting any benefit. I'm just going to get the hardships. And Walker Road is a dead-end road, and I don't believe they're going to keep it that way. That's been a benefit living in the country. I did not move out there to have a bunch of industry, and I like to have to keep the place like it is. I did not get the letter or see it in the mail with the prior meeting, and I'm really concerned when it was said that the county commissioners haven't been notified yet. Did I misunderstand that comment?
Ms. Haney, would you please address your questions to us?
I'm asking you too.
Okay, that's
But
correct.
why are they not here to help represent us?
We'll answer that in a minute. We want to hear from you.
I'm sure. Thank you.
Good afternoon, and thank you for the opportunity to approach. My name is Alicia Knowles. I live at 2603.
I'm sorry, your name again?
Alicia Knowles.
No, okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Could you move the microphone?
Sure.
Thank you.
I live at 2603 Lone Cedar Road. We do own a horse ranch there, and it is very quiet. It is very peaceful. I come home from public service every day, and I enjoy being out in the midst of quiet, serene surroundings. When I am on the horse track, you can hear the children playing from 2 roads over. I'm very, very concerned about the noise this construction level will bring to our peaceful community. I'm very concerned the disruption it will bring to ranch life and the disruption to the animals. I do have several questions. I did understand that they are going to do the responsible thing and bring in the natural vegetation and try and bring the habitat. As we all know, in that area, it is very dry, it is very arid. Things do not grow without constant care and water. Where will that water come from? Who is going to fund that? I understand that they are also going to bring sheep in, which is part of the plan. I have questions. Who is going to do the herd management? Who is going to do the vet work? Who is going to feed and water these animals? Where will that come from? As a ranch owner myself, I know what I spend every year on animal maintenance and taking care of them. So I do have questions on that. Is the energy going to benefit this community? Is it going to benefit our county? For our sacrifice and our commitment to bring in a new energy source, is it going to benefit my neighbors? Or are we going to sell it off? Is it staying here? And is it going to offset the cost of my property value being declined? I've already reached out to my assessor. We purchased this place because of a government relocation for the location, and that's my number one concern. I have read the reports. I know what they look like. My property value is going down. Thank you for taking the time to hear.
Thank you, Ms. Knowles.
I'm Sam Knowles. I just wanted to
Okay.
throw a couple other things out there.
Please.
Probably one of my biggest issues that has not been touched yet is the relocation of the wildlife, especially the coyote population. We have a very large coyote population out there. If we go in there and we build these and do all the construction, where are those coyotes going to relocate to? They're going to relocate to our ranches. They're going to work, you know, people make their living out here off the animals, you know. That's one of our things. So that's one main concern to me that hasn't been brought up yet, so.
Thank you, Mr. Knowles.
Thank you.
Next.
I just wanted to make one point. My name is
Name.
Louis Longoria.
Okay.
I'm at 3605 Calumet, south end of Calumet. The project will be around the block. But I want the board members to remember all the words and concerns of the people that are for this project. Oh, that's right. We didn't have anybody. Now I ask you to consider all the people that are against this project. That's my point. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Montoya. Next. Anyone else?
Sorry.
Hi, I'm Crystal Castañeda Melendez. I live at 40
Crystal who? I'm sorry.
Castañeda Melendez,
Melendez.
and I live at 4908 Calumet Road. I've lived there my whole life. I'm 44 years old, and that's all I know is out there. And I can't imagine waking up not hearing the birds or the kids walking to the bus stop safely, or all the traffic that we're gonna get through there. It's overwhelming. And I don't know if I could show you, I could show you better than I can tell you what they're gonna be taking from us with this solar plant that they didn't inform us about. I didn't know about the open house meeting. I already got the letter in the mail the other day. It's hard for me to talk because I've lost my mom, my dad, my grandpa, my sister. And when my kids come home, I don't want them to see a big old solar panel field out there. It's not right, but if I could show you guys these pictures, can I show them to you? This is just fold like that. That's like all of it right there. It's a folder for you. That can show you better than I can tell you. And that's what they're gonna be taking from us. And the kids aren't gonna be safe out there, can't ride our bikes. Right now, we're having trouble even having our kids play outside because of the traffic from Pine Lodge. The wildlife, there's coyotes out there, there's jackrabbits, there's all kinds of different things. And there are owls, there's all the birds and all that. I can't imagine losing all that. I love my block, I love the country out there. It's peaceful. I can't imagine losing that. Like, where would we go? Like I said, property values are going down. It's just, I'm against it. And if my family was here, they would stand with us too against it. But that picture to show you what the sunrise looks like, the sunsets look like. At nighttime and with the solar panel thing, all we're gonna see is light, you know? Did you look to see it? I thank you guys for listening.
Ms. Melendez, so your concerns are the traffic, the quality of life, and your property value.
And the kids.
Is that what did I hear that correctly?
Yes, the kids
Thank you.
playing.
Thank you.
The bus route, like in the morning, when we all know what time everybody leaves to work. Like my husband leaves, Charlie leaves, Renee leaves, Aunt Nancy leaves, you know, the neighbors walk down the street in the afternoons, you know, when the deer come out, it's a set schedule with all these different cars. How are we gonna know who's out there? And then they're gonna be bringing
crime rate that we just try to get away from in town, they're gonna bring that out there because there's theft and all that.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you. Thank you. Next. Anyone else? Well, okay, that concludes the against portion of this meeting. So I want to ask you all, is there anyone in here that attended the meeting on the 27th? If you attended the meeting, would you please raise your hand? Okay, one out of this entire group that did attend the meeting. Sir, did you? Sir, did you have your questions answered? Did you have any questions and were they answered? Okay. Thank you. Thank you all. And wow, this has been very informative. I can honestly tell you that we have never had anything like this. Yeah, we've had solar panel, multiple cases of solar panels, but not energy. So this is a first for us. And I want to tell you from the bottom of my heart, thank you for coming and expressing your concern. There has to be a lot of work done, in my opinion, before we can ever look at this. Josh, I know you were taking notes, and I hope you wrote down everything. And I will give you one last opportunity to come forward and address anything at this point, so us as commissioners can hear what you have to say to address some of these issues.
Sure. Well, first of all, I want to say thank you for the opportunity to respond to that, and thank you, everybody, for expressing your concerns and letting it be heard. I'm confirming with my team whether or not everybody in the area was invited to that original March meeting. If not, it's certainly not the last. Our communication externally has been that was the first of many, and this is also not the end-all be-all for what we're planning to do. The layout of the project is at best preliminary. What we ultimately design, I completely appreciate the fact that it is surrounding the Shepherds community. That can be adjusted. We can make accommodations for that and make sure that issue is addressed. We do have a property value impact report that is in the materials that is now public for people to read. So that is there as well. The concern is that this isn't going to benefit folks locally, and because they may not get the power directly. But ultimately, it does improve the power rate of everybody in the area. The alternative that this country has is much more expensive, much more volatile to fuel price costs and foreign entities of concern. So this is an investment not only locally, but to nationally in that regard. In terms of contamination of runoff, these panels don't contaminate the water. There's plenty of peer-reviewed research on that, and I will be following up, providing those materials for folks to consider. As far as how we will water the grass, we're working with the Soil and Water District, and we'll come up with a plan to, as best we can, we're not going to put in irrigated sprinklers on 1,800 acres, but we are going to establish as best we can that vegetation that exists there today, if not improve on it, is our goal. And we'll be working with the local experts in that regard to come up with the appropriate plan. As far as construction traffic, pile driving at night, happy to limit those things like I spoke before, and put those into certain conditions and make sure that if there's roads of concern that people don't want construction traffic driving down, we can prohibit that. We can also prohibit things like pile driving at night. We can shut off construction at a certain hour or only allow construction during certain hours. Those are things that we can work around. As far as nobody in favor, we do have over 60 letters of support currently signed. We'll be following up with Lewis. I'll provide him those to make those public as necessary. And we do have a lot of local community support. I guess I just wasn't expecting the good folks here to come out and express, but I'm really glad everybody did, because it gives me an opportunity to really understand what the concerns are, so now I can get to work addressing them and come back with a plan that makes more sense for everybody. And as far as why the project is located here, we didn't touch on that, but before we decide where to put a project, I have a team of engineers that runs all the utility models to determine what impacts this will have on the grid and how much revenue it could generate in savings for the local area. This area is experiencing extreme power price surges in peak hours. This battery system and the solar system will alleviate that. That is why this location has been selected. If we just go out, I understand the concern that we should just go out into, vast open spaces, but there's no electrical infrastructure out there, and those aren't places that actually provide the benefit to the local families and businesses long term. So this project is sited responsibly so that it doesn't result in a bunch of grid disruptions, upgrades necessary for the system that then ratepayers have to pay. All that technical analysis has been completed, and that will be proved out, we believe, in the studies that Xcel Energy is currently doing. If it doesn't, then we were wrong, and this project will unable to be built. And we won't build it without having sold the power first. You just can't afford to build these projects that way. We have to have that revenue secured in order to finance the project and build the project. So certainly would have the power contracted and sold before we built it. I look forward to the opportunity to meet with folks from you all in the Shepherd community. I completely understand concerns, and you're very passionate, and I felt that. And so I want to make sure that we follow up and see what we can do, if there's a solution here, to relocate parts of the project, et cetera, provide visual mitigation, whatever. There are tools that I think we can work on together to make this a project that makes sense for everybody, and I look forward to that opportunity. So we will be hosting an open house again very soon, and look forward to that opportunity. Unless there's any further questions from me, that is what I prepared based upon.
Josh?
Yes.
Do you have any local partners? In other words, I'm sitting here thinking, okay, so there are some people that the city benefits from supposedly stable rates over a long period of time. Do you have, the profits, however, don't stay here. If I understand it correctly, the profits actually go to Austin. Do you have any local partners here where the profits would remain here? What I'm thinking, for example, is oil and gas. We have local partners, and the money stays in southeastern, a lot of it stays in southeastern New Mexico, and that benefits us. So could you address that question, please?
So the profits from the project are shared locally through property tax. That's currently the model that's been used to share profits. We are working with the local economic development office on that right now. So in terms of local partners for profits, that's typically how that's done. And landowners are the other direct local partner.
So just to be clear, did you just say that you will have local partners?
We believe Chaves County and the city of Roswell are local partners for this project. We will be sharing profits through property taxes. And we also have local partnerships with sheep grazing. We are talking with sheep grazers right now who will actively manage their flock to address that concern earlier. We would hire them to do that on the property. We are working with numerous community-based organizations through our quarterly grant program right now. We are working with the local college on an annual scholarship program that will benefit local community for the next 35 years. So yes, we believe we have established some local partnerships, but this, I just want to communicate that this project will not be built for years to come, right? And this is something that we want to work together on long term. So we want to address the concerns that we've heard here today in conditions of a permit. That's what we're proposing. And then if there's a community benefit agreement or something like that we could work on the side, I want to do that.
That might be something very helpful for future meetings that we have, may or may not have, and that would be, how does the community benefit? And show,
Specifically,
Yes. So
data.
yes. So there's an economic impact analysis in the materials here. I think it's attachment 1 or 2 that quantifies the local impact, both within the county and within the state, in terms of number of jobs that will be generated, number of jobs that will be supported, the number of earnings from those jobs. It's millions and millions. And then the overall economic impact, because it's not just construction jobs and it's not just property tax, but there's an entire sphere of people and organizations that reaches, and that's in that economic impact analysis.
so in terms of employment, direct employment, once the program is complete, how many people do you foresee hiring?
Direct, we're looking around 8, but it will support roughly 25 jobs long term.
Thank you.
Commissioners, any other questions? Any questions? Go ahead.
I have a comment, if I may.
Sure.
For those of you that don't know, we do not get paid by the state. We do not get paid by the county. We do not get paid by the city. We are all volunteers, just in case you didn't know that. Thank you.
Absolutely. Anyone else? I want to make a final comment. Josh, it's obvious that everyone sitting in this room has been taken by surprise with this project. To me, due diligence has not been rendered. We have to come to some agreement. From my own personal, living in the county, you can't have a project of this magnitude and this size without having buy-in from surrounding neighbors. And it's obvious that that has not happened. And I would be remiss in saying that I support this because you've done your homework, when it's obvious that hasn't happened, my personal opinion. So we will have a vote here in just a second. Is there any closing statements you would like to make before we move on?
Yeah, I would say that I didn't come here today expecting a vote. I came here today as an effort to have a discussion, because Lewis drafted a report of the findings prior to the hearing, and I understood there was some concerns. I didn't fully expect to get everybody on board with those concerns today, especially considering our layout that folks are looking at and are concerned about is not set in stone. It is very far from that.
Good.
So we are not seeking a vote today. We are seeking an opportunity to hear how we can improve. I think we've accomplished that today.
Yes.
and we can go back and have some more constructive conversations with folks, particularly in the Shepherd community, and make adjustments to be reconsidered.
So, Madam Chair.
Yes, sir.
If I may, this sounds like a not doing the vote and table it for now. So Josh and his team have an opportunity, and that would mean everybody in this room would have to be open to at least listening. And you may need another venue where everybody could come, or meet with groups of people.
Yep.
There's plenty of ways to do it, and we've had this type of thing happen quite a few times. And Mona and I have been doing this for, I don't know, 15 years or something like that. So we were never paid. So anyway, I'm just reiterating what she said. Anyway, so is that the way this commission is thinking at this moment?
Until we all
Yes.
agree on a format, then yes, and I totally agree. I think this is a good opening step, a good first step in giving information to the community, but they need to be heard. They need to be heard. Their concerns need to be addressed, because right now, you just don't have buy-in. And they feel, and I feel like they do, they haven't had the opportunity to ask their questions, not with a forum, not to us. And there is a decorum that we have to follow when we're in session. So they need the opportunity to visit with you one-on-one personally, and I would highly suggest you open that up. And Mr. Espiritu, if you want to facilitate that with the community, however y'all choose to do it, but that definitely needs to happen.
We agree.
Okay.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
I just want to make a statement also.
Absolutely.
I do favor infill development, especially this type, but there's still a lot of questions. The individuals out there feel that, the place is going to look like a prison. And I don't know what your thought is, but beautification of that area, I don't know how that's going to ever happen, but there's been some concerns of individuals saying that it's going to bring their values down on their property because of the look. So, and like I said, I do favor infill development, but more case study needs to be addressed, resolved with these property owners. And that's all I really have to say, but.
Commissioner?
I'll make it quick. I think our chairperson, our chairwoman now, said it the best, and that is, this is a first step. There's many steps to be taken from here. There are a lot of voices that need to be heard. There's a lot of communication that needs to take place.
Commissioner Gerhofer?
I'm done.
He stole my heart.
Thank you.
I would like to move that we,
Wait, just a
okay,
second.
go ahead.
Real quick, residents, some of you are gonna get, you won't get a second letter now, but you'll get a second letter later. This is because it's in the ETZ and the county, there are two separate governing bodies that oversee that area. This is the ETZ commission, and then later there's an authority that oversee that 2-mile radius outside the city limits. This project will be heard again by the Planning and Zoning Commission, a different set of commissioners, and then it goes before the Board of Commissioners for final approval. So please don't think that it is all completely over. They also understand that it's not, they're gonna need to make multiple adjustments to their plans, including floodplain. We need to talk to the railroad because we have an issue with the railroad. Box culvert, obviously you guys in Shepherd are having some drainage issues, which may be the result of that box culvert being covered up. So we'll deal with that. So just so you know, okay? You'll still be getting letters from us as staff.
So we can exhale. Yes, Commissioner Rowe.
Can I continue with, okay. Yeah, I would like to move that case number ETZ 2025-02, along with the findings of facts and conditions, which there may be many more. To go ahead and table this case until further notice, really. We don't know if it's 1 month or 2 months. We don't know what it'll take.
Until they can meet with the surrounding neighbors and concerns have been addressed, correct?
Thank you, yes.
Yes. May I have a second?
A second?
Roll call.
Commissioner Doroffer?
Yes.
Commissioner Erard?
Yes.
Commissioner Carrillo?
Yes.
Chairman Kirk?
Yes.
Commissioner Lackey?
Yes.
Commissioner Rowe?
Yes.
Thank you.
Audience, thank you so much for your participation, and I hope to goodness this eases some of your concerns. I know it's only a first step, and it's not the final step, but at least you have more information, we have more information, and we can move forward from here, whether it be whichever direction, but at least you have more information, so you can exhale for now. Thank you, and I will let you, we have one more case, so those that want to leave may. Okay, we have a quorum, so you're good. Is this mine? Yes, because this is mine. Lower down.
Yeah, I'm gonna go sit.
I'm gonna let you guys handle it. I'm gonna have to leave. I have a 1 o'clock.
All right.
Okay, Eddie.
We'll
to see you.
vote for
Thank
you,
you.
Eddie.
You lucky dog.
Well, I
So there's.
Meeting will come to order.
Adina? Okay.
Who's was all this stuff?
Okay, case number ETZ 2025-003, change of use to cannabis production. Staff, Mr. Arneo, it's all you.
Chairman, Commissioners, this is a change of use in the industrial district for a cannabis establishment being production only. The landowner is ACD and E LLC. Their representative is Ben Stanford. The agent is Fresquez Ventures, being Tim Fresquez, doing business as Pinnacle. The location is 502 East Guyena Road. The legal is, of course, is Lot 3, Block 41 of Glen Alto subdivision. Fresquez Ventures, doing business as Pinnacle, is requesting a change of use for, again, that 502 East Guyena Road, being just Lot 3. It is zoned I-1 industrial. It is a general use, as it wasn't specifically stated in the zoning case from 1981. What it was used for, they wish to use it as a cannabis establishment production. This property contains a 178 square foot metal structure that was constructed in the early 90s. Staff is not familiar with the previous use of the structure. What we've been told is it was used as a storage building, but we do not have confirmation of that, nor is it current building condition. If approved, staff will inspect the structure for building code compliance and possible occupancy. Mr. Fresquez has stated he would be operating a micro business facility which may consist of less than 99 mature plants at one time and a possible 200 cannabis plants overall. If approved, Mr. Fresquez would need final approval from the Cannabis Control Division themselves. The surrounding properties to the south, east, and west are all zoned industrial districts. The residential dwellings located to the east appear to be legal non-conforming uses in an industrial district. They were there prior to the zone change of 1981, as far as we can tell by our aerial photos and using Google aerial photos. So kind of industrial surrounded them. They didn't wander into industrial. The property to the north are within the county zoning districts and are in the Breek Industrial Center subdivision. This subdivision has a mixed use, including industrial, single-family residential, and a multifamily residential. Staff is unsure of the current zoning as this subdivision, as it was created in 1982 with little record of approval. So we're still working on that. This proposed use is not, okay, so the last part of that statement, Mr. Fresquez has complied. He has provided us with the layout of the required building and part of the cannabis licensing requirement, which states that he will provide a map or a design showing where he'll store the chemicals, where the growing area is, where the harvesting area is, where the bathroom is, where the restrooms are, where they'll wash their hands, and they must provide restrooms and washing areas because there are chemicals and there are people. So originally staff had considered tabling this, but Mr. Fresquez has presented that to us as of yesterday, and that was given to you when the meeting began.
Yeah.
So, if you have any questions, Chairman, Commissioners, please.
Commissioners, questions? Ms. Dorhoff, do you have any questions? as
No, I
staff?
don't, thank you.
Okay.
Not yet.
I've got a quick question. Does your recommendation still stand?
No, not at this time. As he has provided us with that design of the layout of the building, which was required not only in our application, but his application to the Cannabis Control Division.
And your recommendation now is?
This is industrial. I feel bad for the two residents to the west, I'm sorry, to the east. They are in that industrial district, but this is the only industrial district besides the one with Mr. Noriega that we deal with, that exists in the county, that is primarily designated for industrial.
So it does
However,
comply.
And it is, they are gonna get multiple different uses, hammering them in different directions as this area is developed. And we are getting more and more requests and inquiries on this subdivision because there are numerous industrial businesses that want to come in, being one that we talked about before, which is a data center. They hum,
Which is what?
they heat, and it's a data center.
Oh,
Data center does not require, as you may know, it doesn't really require employees to be there. One or two walk around just to watch the HVAC. The servers use a lot of power, but the power to provide HVAC and keep it cool is more. So that's why they use so much. But we're seeing a lot of these proposed units, and they do hum. And that's why they need to be an industrial.
They do hum.
I do have a question. It says, if approved, staff will inspect the structure for building code compliance and occupancy. Why can't you do that before, so we know?
Because we don't want to put the cart before the horse, and
Yeah.
we don't want to waste
Premature.
staff's time, as they're currently inspecting residential homes, wells.
I understand that, but it's our time too. And what happens if we hear all of this and then all of a sudden it doesn't meet the code?
They will have to bring it up to code in order to occupy it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we will keep that from occurring. And that's part of also in your packet, we highlighted that state statute requires that, 1628, requires that they comply with our building code and our local zoning code. And so that's why we are here.
So I have another question. Doesn't a business like this need some kind of certification, approval
They
by the
need-
state?
Yes, but we are the first step. They need zoning approval.
We are the
And
first?
so we are the first. And so
Okay.
if you do not grant zoning approval, there is no application to the Cannabis Control Division.
Thank you, Mr. Jaramillo.
It's sent back.
The way I understand it, Guyanus is the border of the ETZ.
It is the border of the ETZ, and.
On the
is
north
it-
side of Guyanus, it's county.
County. And on that north side, there was an industrial per subdivision, but I'm still trying to search that information because there are a number of uses. If you look at the aerial photos, or if you just drive down Guyana, there's industrial, commercial, single-family, multifamily, vacancy, condemned home, and open land. It's just the weirdest thing on that side.
This is a silly question, actually. Is there a strictly agricultural zone? Do we have? in the-
Agricultural is the main, besides residential, is the main use. There are two
Repeat
main-
that again?
Agricultural and residential are the two main uses in the ETZ and county area. They're the two primary. And then everything else after that falls in the line. Falls in line in one way or another in a zoning district.
So this falls in line with
In this
our-
particular case, when we did the ETZ and we considered cannabis regulation, we thought it best not to do what we've done in the county where it's just considered a agricultural use. Because sometimes they can get too close to residential. So we made it clear that it had to be an industrial or a special use in a rural suburban, and we all know how those have gone. They've gone wish-wash and out the door.
Does something like this, an application like this, require commentary from neighbors?
It
Even
does.
though it's in a-
We notified the neighbors within 600 feet, yes. And they'll be here, and they are here to speak,
600 feet.
yes.
Is that
Well, we-
outside of the ETZ also, or
Yes,
just the ones
everybody.
inside?
Everybody outside, everybody. So what we do as staff is we also have regulations. 300 feet, schools, churches, schools is the main one, 300 feet. Then we had additional regulations
School,
that we
churches,
put on there
residential.
as a commission and staff. The 1,000 feet, which is parks, government buildings, senior citizen facilities, which is also adult care. So none of those restrictions are within this area
Zone.
or in this zone. So as far as staff goes, they meet all of those requirements for setback to those specific restrictions that we've put into that ordinance. So,
So they've cleared all the hurdles at the ETZ level.
yes.
Including water rights?
Water, they, let Mr. Vasquez explain that, but it's going to be a trucking, but it's only for 1 year. The state cannabis control division may still say yes or no on that, and they'll let me know. But the regulation states that you're only allowed to truck for 1 year. After that, you got to figure out a water right, or they null and void your permit. They also,
Unfortunately,
the
there's-
Cannabis Control Division has now a law enforcement division, which was
Oh.
recently passed and approved.
Yeah.
Thank goodness. So it's going to be a whole new staff that we are going to be dealing with, that we already have. I have contacts with their legal team. I also have contacts with their enforcement team, and then now I'll have contacts with their law enforcement side. So we're doing better. We're trying to control other things that are going on dealing with cannabis, which are kind of
The
rave
black market.
issues. No, more of rave issues, more of off-site consumption that is not permitted. And as you remember also, we have eliminated oh, you may not know, I'm sorry. The ETZ authority did amend the Cannabis Control Division, or the cannabis article, and they put in there, they wanted to prohibit consumption altogether, except for at your private residence. So there's no commercial cannabis
Consumption.
consumption. You can still smoke at home, that's no big deal,
But not in the streets? Like
not in the public.
walking down the
You'll be
road or-
arrested, and
Car.
not at a function, you cannot do that at a primary function, saying, like we've had trouble with in other facilities.
And who did that?
The ETZ authority. And so, that was one of their main changes that they made at that.
Don't many of the states have cannabis bars or whatever they would be called?
Mhm.
That's what I thought.
There was one thing that the Cannabis Control Division gave to the acting governing body, and so the city had chosen not to allow it, and the chairman and vice chairman persuaded that that be also included in the ETZ. So it was changed.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Romeo. Mr. Frestis? Sure. Yes, it's your turn. Please state your name and address and give us your information.
Okay, my name is Tim Frescus. I'm representing Frescus Ventures, doing business as Pinnacle at 502 East Guyana Road here in Roswell. We're proposing a small-scale cannabis micro-production facility using an ebb-flow hydroponic system with a maximum of 200 plants. The facility is an existing 1,636 square foot building on 0.22 acre site zoned appropriately for this type of operation. We've prepared comprehensive plans covering our utilities, security, lighting, fencing, and parking to fully comply with state and county regulations. This includes upgraded electrical and water systems, dedicated wastewater handling, full perimeter fencing topped with barbed wire, infrared security cameras, footage for 30 days, and a monitor alarm system. We have clear parking for the inspector, basically, because it's just gonna be a grow, it's not gonna be a,
Retail?
yeah, it's not gonna be a retail. In fact, I'll be contracting to the local economy. So the money will be here locally because Oasis and Pure Life, they're just waiting for me to grow. Okay, we work carefully to ensure everything meets or exceeds NMCCD and ETZ requirements. And all of our, and everybody that's employed with me will be trained in safety, sanitation, and, emergency procedures. We believe this project will add we believe this will add responsible, compliant cannabis production in the area, and we respectfully request your approval. Thank you very much for your time.
Any
And
questions?
for instance, if you want to,
Yes, please.
it's all going to be hydroponic, and here's
Oh, you just have the one?
yeah, well, I've got just right here, see, that's going to be
I'm familiar with
It's all gonna be
hydroponics,
water.
so yeah. It is very minimal.
Oh, well, do you know what hydroponic is? Hydroponic, okay, I just wanted to
I
make.
have a friend that does,
Oh, I've got,
she grows vegetables,
I've got the,
hydroponic.
okay. I've got the cultivation plan, and business plan and everything right here. Y'all needed to see that.
Explain more on your water issue.
Okay,
How do you plan on providing water to the facility?
okay, first of all, how do I plan on having a water hauler take the city water to the storage tanks, just like ranch tanks. And then we'll just transfer that water into the bladders on the hydroponic systems. So I think I'll have 5 or 6 bladders that are 105 gallons, right? And that hydroponic is 30 times more efficient than your regular plant, so it's real efficient. So basically, we'll just put it into the, I'll get it from the city, transfer it to the tanks, plastic tanks that I have, 2 1,600 gallon tanks, and then I'll transfer that water into the hydroponics inside, because it's an indoor grow. And
Is this in writing somewhere that that's what you will be doing? And not just,
Oh, yeah,
gee, we're
yes.
telling, we're going to get it, bring it in by
no,
hauler?
I've got everything right in here.
Okay,
All the
so,
procedures.
so you are legally bound to bring the water in with a hauler and not dig a well and use the water out of the well?
No, I can't use a well water.
Why?
So, because of salinity.
And the state. So you have 1 year to haul,
Yes.
correct? And then what's your plan after that?
I'm gonna be, what's my plan after that is to deal with the next step.
Which is?
Is provide a pump to the water well there. Because they've got Burrito water and they've got a regular well. And anyways, I just gotta buy the pump for it.
Repeat
Get the
the-
pump for it, but for right now, I could use city water.
What are you pumping? What are you
Well-
going to pump, Berendo water?
No, not Burrito water, I'll have to pump from a private well. It's got
I thought
Brenda-
you said you couldn't drop a well.
I'm gonna have to check up more on that. But they're gonna give me a whole year
Okay.
to use city water.
Right, but
And
you
see 'em
haven't
by-
you haven't checked on what you're gonna do after a year.
Plan
Yeah, I
B.
have. I want to expand. I want to expand.
Expand
Your
what?
production, but
Maybe
we're,
the grow operation.
Yeah.
Because right now, I just got a micro grow, and that's 200 plants or less. I mean, there's farms out there that are farming marijuana, and, they're feeding it to the cows, like the dairy cows. And so they're producing more milk because
Hold
they're
on.
more relaxed.
Hold on, I'm
I'm
getting
lost.
very confused here.
Oh, okay.
So, let's talk about Plan B. What is Plan B?
Okay, Plan B is, well, I'll just have to, I want to compound off this property.
So is that in your proposal? Does everybody know that you're going to start out small and then you're going to expand and you don't have a well, but you're going to
No,
think about it?
what I really want to do is I just want to stay small.
Say that again?
What I want to do is just stay small, 200 plants or less, because I want to do
Didn't you just say expand?
up to 200 plants.
Yeah.
And that's your max, period.
200 is my max, right? Okay, and the state, it's not defined a marijuana plant until it's in flower stage. So I could be able to grow while I'm still flowering, right? And then harvest those, right? And then the ones that are vegging will come into flower. And so I could have a perpetual harvest possibly every 2 weeks, 3 weeks if I wanted to. And then plus I'm going to be planting autoflower, and autoflower is different from the regular seed from the sun. The photo period is that you could harvest between 8 and 11 weeks. So I could probably have 4 or 5 harvests every a year.
So what happens once your first year is over? What changes?
To get water. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I'll have to find out with the state. Because the state is going to have to.
Is all of this in your plans that you have submitted?
I believe it is. I believe it
Okay.
is, yes.
Mr. Hermia, I'm going to ask a question, Mr. Hermia. Maybe we can get a straight answer. So Plan B, he's talking about Plan B for water on after the first 365 days. What has been submitted?
Nothing at this time. It is a very, I know what he's going to be required. He's going to be required to get agricultural water rights, period. Because Berendo Co-op has said you are not allowed to use their water to
Cultivate plants,
grow
or water
plants because of the USDA contract that they have.
Correct.
That helped them expand their
And that's
water
written here.
service system.
That's written in our policy. I read
So-
that. Okay, so he would have to develop a well.
He would have to buy water rights from someone and drill a well. I'm sure Commissioner Lackey would be better at explaining what would need to be done, but
It'd have to be moved in to, there is an existing well there, is that correct?
no, they're on
An
Brenda
old-
water.
Yeah.
There's not an old well on there?
No, sir.
The map, the state water map is wrong then. So,
I believe that belongs to the neighbor to the east,
Harvey?
Ms. Sanchez.
And
So then it would require drilling a well, moving in a water right that can be, depending on where it comes from, where it goes, can be
right.
very expensive.
Very.
Madam Chair, I'm a little bit confused. I don't see a workable plan. I don't see something from point A to point B here. Am I missing something?
exactly the reason I asked staff.
Yeah, well-
And that seems to be very
Okay.
The issue.
missing. Okay. Anything else, Mr. Frescus?
Also, the legislature, I believe it was last year, passed a law that all the dispensaries over here, they can't buy from, like California
Correct.
and Colorado, which they were. So it's got to be the grower from New Mexico. So that's where I've come in. And then I've already got, I think there's 13 dispensaries here in Rossville. So there's more than I thought, so.
I
Well,
had one other quick,
And also, those dispensaries, I didn't know, if they don't have the necessary product on the shelf, that they could be fined $10,000 a day. So anyways, because a lot of that is for recreational use, and a lot of it's prescribed by doctors, just like their heart pill.
medicinal.
Yes, sir.
And where will you be selling? Where and to whom?
Pure Life and Oasis, you know that one on Second Street?
Yes.
Oasis, that big one there, and then Pure Life, it's on South Main Street, and a few others.
You have a contract with them?
No, they're waiting until I get licensed, because they could only buy from,
Right, but you don't have a contract that if you get approved, that you will sell to them?
I could go get a letter, I don't have a contract yet, but they'll talk to me and take me more serious when I have the license. But I do have all the equipment,
Madam Chair.
thousands of dollars of equipment,
Product
you know.
first.
I need more of a structure, of a plan, a proposal to look at this.
Okay, we have Mr. Lackey also that has a,
where do you live? I must.
Now, I live here in 1605 South Missouri Avenue.
okay.
Where will your workers be living?
It's not, there might be one grower, it's just gonna be me.
To take care of 200 plants?
The hydroponic.
Hydroponic,
Yeah.
it's very limited.
See, the hydroponic system's taking the personal thing out of the plant.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, it's basically gonna grow uniform. I'm gonna plant everything on the same day.
Thank you.
And I'm not gonna, it's, I could run it off my phone on the computer or whatever, you know, it has off the app to control the temperature, to control the humidity, the pH.
So you'd be the only one working?
Me and another employee, a grower probably.
And do you have anything, do you do any background checks for this other grower?
No, the state does.
The state does it for you?
Yeah, they've done a background check on me too.
Do you have anybody in mind that's going to help you? That has been through these checks with the state?
I think, no, I just me has been checked.
Okay.
But I'm pretty sure that if I do hire somebody, that they're gonna have to be subject to the check also.
So you said you have security in your plan, you have fencing,
Yes.
you have gates, you have lighting.
Yeah, I'm gonna use the LED grow lights.
Okay, where is that in your plan? I don't have copies of that.
Okay, I gave it to her, and it's got lightings and.
You mean
lighting.
this here? No, I
No,
mean,
not, no, where was that?
I mean a plan.
Oh.
Mr. Jaramillo, do you have a copy of this plan that he's talking about?
Here it is.
Let me see what I can find.
That is not a plan.
I know. Yeah, here's a plan.
You're making me
Business plan or
crazy.
site plan?
It's the closest
Sorry,
thing.
I mixed up everything here.
But that's not a,
Thus far.
that's not a plan like a curriculum. It's, What did I do with that? I just got it.
Site plan.
I got it. I have a project snapshot handout. Is this your plan?
No, that's just for, highlights or, just for your convenience.
Information. Ms. Tarmio, do we have findings of facts or anything to add to our
Oh, no, I want to keep it.
information?
No, we would have to
You know
construct
what?
those as
I
we
want
go.
to table this thing.
Then ask the
So,
chairperson.
so Chair, let me, well,
Madam Chair,
just a second. So I just asked Mr. Armio if we have findings of facts or any of the information we need if we were going to move forward with this. And he said, no, not at this time.
Thank
We
you.
need that in order to make an educated vote or have an educated vote. So Mr. Armio said he would construct that. But here's my thought. He needs to visit with Mr. Frescus and get that information, because this was given to us right before.
Today.
Right before. And so he hasn't had a chance. We were gonna table it, and he hasn't had a chance to sit down with him, develop that and the findings of facts, so we can either approve or disapprove to give us more information. So, perfect.
We
So
got that.
what we need then is more information. Are we all in
Yes.
agreement?
yes.
Okay,
That's why you're chairperson, Mona.
okay, so, now, having, Mr. Frescus, nothing against you, we just don't have enough information to make a decision on where we go from here. We need more information. We know what your Plan B is going to be once after this year. You just gave the site plan to Mr. Armio 5 minutes before we sat down.
Oh, okay, I
And-
thought, okay.
He gave it to me yesterday.
Oh, did he? Okay, I'm sorry.
I see, I
So-
had somebody, I have a secretary entering all my information for the
Gotcha.
state,
Okay.
and, I should have brought her, but
Madam Chair.
So we need more information on the findings and facts, so we know what we're going to approve. So,
Madam Chair, if I may, I
Yes.
move that we table the issue for this, at this meeting.
oh, great.
And we wait for a more complete plan from Mr. Mr.
Frescus?
Frescus.
Frescus?
Frescus, yeah, Tim
Sorry about
Frescus.
that.
I second that.
Wait, okay.
Who's here to speak for and against?
Well, I'm just going to say, I second that with the caveat that we need more information, because if we don't have it and we have to vote on it, and if it turns out we vote yes, then there's no problem. If we vote no, isn't it a year before he can come back?
Not with the change of use, that's still a weird thing. Normally, but we have specific use in industrial, but we don't have the right restrictions for those compared to zoning variances and special use requirements. That's still.
Okay.
But my concern is that we have
Well,
residents that
well-
are here
That-
that may not be able to come.
We
need to
we
be-
can hear him, we just want to give you a fair chance. And with the information I have is not enough for me to make a intelligent decision.
Agreed.
Agreed? Okay.
So can we,
Now we'll hear from the audience, because we do respect you being here, and we
Yes.
appreciate you being here. So, thank you, Mr. Frescus. Now we'll hear from them, and then we will let you know what our decision.
appreciate it.
Absolutely. We appreciate you being here and coming before us. Thank you. Okay. Is there anybody in the audience wishing to speak in favor? Favor? Okay. Those wishing to speak in opposition, please step forward, state your name and address, and we'll listen to your concerns.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hi.
My name is Clay Sandoval. I have the three parcels across the street. We have a home on the one on the east side. My sister-in-law owns the middle, and then we both own the large one directly across from him. You know, I don't have a problem with the cannabis, but after seeing what he did today, I mean, he really doesn't know what he's doing. So I think you guys ought to table it, and let's get some more information and find out what's going on. I'm concerned on the water. I thought there was a well at that place there. So I live off of a well as well. And with the chemicals, you know, obviously I have a granddaughter that lives with us. And so I'm concerned about that. And then the security as well with the riffraff in that area. And then as far as my neighbor as well, I mean, it's like right out their back door. So that's really all I have to say. I think maybe next time we'll get more information. And okay.
Thank you, Mr. Sandoval. Mr. Frescas, you probably might want to be taking some notes so you can address these issues again. So his concerns were, well, water, okay, if you already know what the issues are, Mr. Sandoval, good. Okay, we'll move on. Next.
My name is Gabriel Sanchez. We live right next door at 506 East Galena. Thank you for your time, by the way. And we're more concerned with, it's not the cannabis part of it or anything. We have young children. I have a 5-year-old and a 15-year-old. And currently my brother's with us. He's a 16-year-old. We're seriously concerned about the safety and the security of our family. We understand that he's going to be putting up fencing and barbed wire and cameras and everything like that on his property, but that still leaves our property open, our neighborhood that, you know, that whole east side of the block is residential. I'm sorry, I'm an anxious person, but we've built that community from pretty much the ground up. You know, it's been, and we're just concerned with his property will be secure, yes, but anybody that comes in, you know, any kind of ne'er-do-well that come in trying to scope out what that property would be turned into, oh, we can't get into that property, that leaves us open to, oh, they're right next door, you know. It's a big concern for us, as well as anybody, you know, well, like I said, anybody that would be around. And there is a school, a stone's throw, Burindo Middle School, right across the highway. Also, there would, you know, hundreds of students there with a grow facility that close. I'm sure it would make parents nervous to have something like that close to their school. It's just, it would be more of a concern for us, more sleepless nights than anything, having something 10 feet out of our property line, especially with the aerial survey provided. It looks like our property line extends a little bit past our fenced-off area. I'm not sure if you have that paper or not, but it worries us having it so close to our homes and our families. We appreciate your time.
Thank you, Mr. Sanchez.
I have a
Anyone else?
question. Mr. Sanchez, which is your property here, please?
The one directly east, the house right next door.
Okay, where's east?
Yeah, because this has no north, south, east.
Yeah, you can come up here, I won't hurt you. This one right here, this dark area. Thank you.
Which one?
Dark area. Right here. Right next to, it's this dark area. Because I said dark area. Yeah, that's the area. Dark area. Okay.
It's right here.
That's the garage.
Yeah, yes, yes.
That's the building.
Oh, I need a different pen.
Anyone else?
That's where they live.
Oh, that's where they.
This is where
That's it.
Mr. Frescas, would you like to address those concerns?
This is his property.
Please step forward to
Okay.
the microphone.
Got it. I'm not gonna
Yes,
give you
ma'am.
one of my pens.
I'll address those concerns. And right away.
No, you don't.
Okay.
Thank you.
Have you met with the neighbors? Have you had a meeting with? Please.
With that house right next to it.
Come forward and.
Cost me a fortune.
Just take a deep breath.
Okay, my grandchildren live at 506 East Guyena.
Thank you.
My name is Wendy Hamer. Mr. Fresquez has previously tried to open a grow facility in the old radio station on Red Bridge Road. I know that that did not go over well. I know that he had my disabled felon husband working for him under the table, living there while they tried to prepare the building. I do not want that right next to my grandchildren. I do not believe Mr. Fresquez can make a go of this business. I do not believe he has a plan. And I believe he is going to bring a criminal element around that neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Kramer. Okay, so there's one more concern for you to address too, when we.
Yeah, concerns too.
Okay. Any other questions, comments? Entertain a motion.
I think there was a motion.
Oh, we have a motion on the floor, I'm sorry. And did we have a second?
I tried to second, Miss.
Okay,
Ma'am,
so
Chairman.
Mr. Erard made the motion and
table, is
Commissioner
that-
Dorhofer
Is
second.
that, the motion was to table?
Table,
Okay.
correct?
Is there a term?
Yes.
Until we can get the information delivered to Mr. Armio, what his plan is, and findings of fact from the staff, so we know what we're to address. So we'll have more information, correct? Okay, okay. Roll call.
Commissioner Dorother?
Yes.
Commissioner Erard?
Yes.
Commissioner Carrillo is not here, and then Chairman Kirk?
Yes.
Commissioner Lackey?
Yes.
Commissioner Rowe?
Yes.
Thank you.
So, Mr. Frescas, you have your information, you know what you need to do, and when you've got your information together, then we'll see you again.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
And all the volunteer work.
Thank you, thank you. Okay, that concludes case number 3. Other business, unscheduled communication. Okay, commissioners, we had our chair pass away, which led to, and he had been on the commission for many, many years, and it deeply saddens each of us when we lose one of us. So I would like to take a moment and, in our own way, honor Mr. Maples as our chair for actually many terms. We all turned it over to him and kind of left it. But if we will, just take a few minutes and honor him in our own personal way. Thank you. Mr. Hermio, have you heard anything? Has there been anything published about a service or anything? Do we know anything?
We don't know what occurred with that.
It was in Artesia probably 3 or 4 weeks ago.
I wish I would have known, but I understand. Okay, any other business?
We are going to be raising our
Pay?
application fee rates.
No. Does that go to us?
Wish, but it's the postal services do a wonderful increase, one of 8 that they've had since the last time we increased rates. Not to mention the Roswell Daily Record's increase in rates. waiver and ink and rental. And if Dina wants a raise, I don't know why.
Well, I want to raise.
Here, I'll lift you up.
Raise you up. But due
Yeah,
to
we're gonna
cost,
get phone book.
just to cover our standard costs, we are gonna have to ask that those fees be
Increase.
Otherwise, we're paying for it as a
No.
government agency.
There's 7 of us, well, 6 right now that are gonna go on strike, and we're asking for double what we make now.
Mr. Armijo, the county commissioners have a little computer that everything is that a no? I didn't even
That's a
get it out
no.
yet.
We're gonna kill trees.
Meredith doesn't want to pay for money.
I'm just saying, they use it, I guess it's loaded in, and they go through it at the commission meeting. We can't get one, it'll save paper.
I could buy you one, and Commissioner Rowe, Commissioner Lapp,
I'll take one.
but everybody else will be out.
No, that's not fair.
I know. The city doesn't want to contribute.
No,
Ask
We're in
Mr.
the
Williams to cough it up.
yeah.
I think.
So, any other business? Any other business?
I could
Okay.
get Mr. Cole to give me some.
We'll talk to